Podcast is intended for mature audiences. The views and opinions expressed are those of the panelists and do not reflect in any way those of the podcast partners, sponsors, or affiliates. Enjoy.
Hi, this is Michael Buffer, and you're listening to the voice of the people. Let's get ready for Boxing Voice.
Every day I'm hustling, 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 hustling. Every day I'm hustling, every day I'm hustling, every day I'm hustling, every day I'm hustling.
Dolla Dibiase Productions.
I must be the greatest.
Let's get that done.
I've been here before and I know what it takes. It's hard work, dedication. BoxingWords.com. Mayweather is he's the best.
Win, lose, or draw, we coming to fight. Can't nobody take that away. We're coming to fight.
They do what they can, I do what I want.
When you look at how he throws that left hook, it starts out really low. We're going to see what kind of character.
Oh, and the lefts and rights by Maidana. And it's all Marcos Maidana here. A lot of those punches off his shoulder.
I think anybody out there listening or the key, anybody, you think that that's a dangerous deal to make. I think it's a perfect deal to make.
BoxingWords.com.
15 minutes. Can you be strong for 15 minutes? Can you? Listen, the concentration is weaving a little bit. Pick it up. Pick it up!
Some things about we got to deal with his body shots. I don't think you want to be that close to us. He's talking about letting the left hook go, then you gonna take the left hook. Let's get that done.
Look, the fire's coming. Are you ready for the fire? Look, we're firemen. Okay. We are firemen! The heat doesn't bother us. We live in the heat. We train in the heat.
BoxingWords.com.
Let's get that done.
Danny, how much of the difference is it for you at this weight? You lost weight, man? Yeah, I'm working out. I lost like 35 every fighter's a threat.
Puerto Rico. Miguel
BoxingWords.com.
We're not going to do that. We're going to take this fight against Keith. We're going to get less than you, Keith, but we're going to get more the second time. So go ahead and make it 2 times.
BoxingWords.com. My job is to focus on boxing, going out there being the best that I can be.
All right, you men receive my instructions. Protect yourselves at all times. Obey my commands. I want you to touch gloves now, man. You're boxing at the bell. Place to go.
BoxingWords.com. BoxingWords.com.
Saturday, I think somebody's going to get stalked. We don't know who, but, I'm pretty confident in myself. And we're ready.
I must be the greatest.
BoxingWords.com. I must be the greatest. Good morning, TBV. Yo, why does it feel like a Friday? Cause it is for me. Cause I love doing what I do, and I love talking boxing with you know who. Yeah, I'm talking about you. It's NestGTO, Instagram and Twitter, and we back with another one. Hit me up on Skype. You know the number to call in, 1-425-569. We're going to be talking the heavyweight division. All eyes on the heavyweight division right now. And I guess the hottest topic is what's next? Who's next? Where do we go next? So we're going to be talking about all of that today. Tyson Fury versus Dillian Whyte in 28 days? Or will Dillian Whyte cancel himself if he doesn't get past the good old Otto Wallin? Anthony Joshua activates his rematch clause, so we're going to be talking about that. Shout out to AJ, not listening to the naysayers, not deciding to retire. Some of these sideline managers asking good old AJ to retire and shit. You know, we're going to be talking Deontay Wilder and his comeback. And what route should he take in that comeback? Because obviously he could go to a fight. I mean, I wanted to ask specifically how many months you think he's going to be out. I'm not even thinking fights at the moment. I think it's too soon. But obviously, you know, this is the voice of the people. You are the people. There is no equal. And I would love your opinion. If you feel he doesn't need a specific set amount of months, if you feel he, you know, fought the number one heavyweight, so he should be able to come right back in 3-4 months, let us know. But that's what I want to know when it specifically pertains to Deontay Wilder is his comeback. Where do you see that comeback? How many months from now? Not necessarily versus who. How many months off should Deontay Wilder, the Bronze Bomber, take after this fight? And then I want you to consider Dillian Whyte versus Otto Walling and make a decision in your head whether or not you feel he will be able to beat Dillian or Dillian will be able to beat him, because then we'll know what's next for Fury. Fury right now is sitting on the throne watching everyone else do their thing, but we have to remember that Fury did say a few months back that he would knock out Wilder and fight Dillian Whyte in December. We're 2 months away from December. Fury's fought in December in Vegas in the past. Can he do it again? Will he do it with a high-level opponent like a Dillian Whyte? Now, Dillian, he fights this month as well. I believe he fights on the 30th, but I will Google search that in just 1 minute and give you the actual date between he and Otto. So, yes, Dillian can do it, but he would be in that Canelo situation where it would be a quick turnaround because they won't do late December. They never touch late December because of Christmas. So if they don't do it early December on the 4th, on the 11th, or the 18th is really the only days they can do it, right? Let me make sure that the 4th still lands on a Saturday. December 4th, 11th, and 18th are your Saturdays in December before Saturday, Christmas. So Dillian is scheduled to fight October 30th, which it will be. I mean, let's see here. I got an app for that. Let's see what, well, we can't do from the 30th. All right, well, we can't use the app. We'll have to use the calendar. And let's see here. So we'll go to the 30th. October 30th is a Saturday. Give Dillian what? 2 weeks off. We're talking the 13th of... No, that didn't work. I'm going the wrong way. Okay, that's November. December. Here we go. December 1st, 4th. Okay, boom. So, yes. All right. October 30th is his date. That's a Saturday. Then he can start training camp on the 13th, 2 weeks off, another Saturday. And you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Nope, it won't work. It won't work. Not enough time for Dillian to get in there in December, which will push you to January. And if you go to January, then you got time. You're talking, 5, 6, 7, 8. You could do like January 22nd to give 10 weeks for a Dillian Tyson Fury. If, again, Fury really wants to do that. If he really wants to take on Dillian Whyte and abide by the order of the WBC. And it's a good domestic fight. I don't know that he'll fight him in his hometown, but definitely a fight that they can do in America while they wait for Usyk and AJ, since Joshua's activated the rematch clause. Now, no exact dates on Anthony Joshua and that rematch just yet, but you got to assume it'll be in the new year, maybe April. I remember they tried to use that date for Joshua Dillian Whyte once upon a time. So Anthony Joshua has triggered his clause for a rematch against Alexander Usyk, which will take place in the spring of 2022, says Eddie Hearn. So, again, April sounds about right. April, maybe even March. I know Americans, we do spring break March, second week maybe after Easter. I don't know. That's like a younger man's holiday, go to Miami for spring break. I've done that so many years ago. It's like, who does anything on spring break? Every day is spring break. You know what I'm saying? But, so that puts them out the way. So it makes sense for Fury to fight in January, February. I guess he doesn't have to rush the December date, So let's start with that poll. Should Fury face Dillian Whyte? And I'll be fair here to Violin. I'll be fair to Violin here and put Dillian Whyte, Violin winner. I'll put that shit. I got Enrique jumping on in the streets of Brooklyn, just walking around with air. I mean, what up?
Top of the morning.
All right, so maybe I should say, should Tyson Fury face Dillian Whyte, Wileen winner? And then I'll put some months. I'll put January. We could do February, call it the Valentine's Day Massacre. All right, and then we can do March, April, same month as Usyk, AJ. Right? Maybe you guys want it on the same month, so it's like fresh in your mind. But I was about to, go ahead, do your thing. Step away, champ. If you gotta do it,
I was looking. I'm good to go. I had to reach in my pocket. I was adjusting myself, looking for these keys. I was out early this morning, and funny enough, man, just run into a couple people that casually like boxing. I don't know if you guys talked about it yesterday. I haven't gotten this doesn't have the resonation that some of the other bigger fights that have had. This is I don't think it's got as much big attention. You getting the same impression or no? Maybe I'm just.
Which fight doesn't have the big attention?
Wilder Fury. This fight.
Yeah, I don't know what you mean. What do you mean it doesn't have the big attention?
As far as resonating with the casuals or I just didn't feel like the day after was big, like the same way after, boxing fans, it was huge. I guess I'm gauging it by when I'm running into people, they didn't ask me much about it. Almost like it was a foregone conclusion, even though I heard a lot of people in the media, even myself, pick Wilder. Like the aftermath wasn't, I don't know.
Nah, man, not for me. I've definitely had uncles, my other best friend, my wife, obviously she's here, but she watched it in the room and she was all in. My son, he heard me yelling, so unfortunately, that's something the promoters need to know. My son heard me
know what
yelling.
else too?
Go ahead.
Not even to cut you off. I was talking to one of my guys, and they had went to a local fight out in Philly. Shout out to Isaiah Wise. And they said they went to a couple bars, and they were trying to find the fight, and it was bars that didn't even have it.
Yeah, I mean, because you know what? It's difficult with the bars. It costs more money. I mean, it's a lot of money to get the bars to have these pay-per-views. You know, Adrian, he's talked to us about that, obviously, with him, working with the bar in Wisconsin. It's not cheap. They got to pay like $2,500. So you got to make sure you can make that back. Sometimes even more than that. So you got to make sure you can make that back because they don't pay the normal price of like you and I, obviously, But yeah, I mean, talk to me about Tyson Fury and Dillian Whyte. The WBC has given Fury 30 days to negotiate with Usyk, but I am assuming, and I'm wondering what you're assuming is going to happen since AJ's triggered the rematch clause. I mean, it really doesn't matter what Usyk wants to do. He's being called upon by the contract. So there will be no 30 days negotiation for Tyson Fury and Usyk to do undisputed. But Whyte can't fight Fury until he beats Valine. And I mean, let's stop there before I unpack the third part.
Yeah, and now listen, that's unfortunate for Dillian Whyte, man. He's been waiting, forever to really, kind of crack the surface, and people give him shit about not coming stateside, yada yada yada. But I think it's fair. He's fought Chisora, he's fought Joshua. Yeah, man, come on. This is a fair enough, point to where if he beats Valine, which is a credible opponent, we love using the term a common opponent, because it's a true measuring litmus test, but also because it gives you an idea of if a person could hang, right? So sure, after he beats Valine, or if he should beat Valine, I think the Fury matchup is more than suitable, and I think maybe kind of Whyte's unorthodox style, kind of coming from that kickboxing background, but still, working on his craft as a boxer. Maybe he just makes the fight a little bit different. Styles make fights. So what can he do when he gets there? I don't know. But does he deserve to be there at this point? Yeah, Dillian Whyte's definitely done enough. No steps backward for him, man. No, I don't want anybody trying to throw any subterfuge. Yeah, Dillian Whyte, if he beats Valine. I mean, but I guess the other side too, would people be disappointed if Valine happened to win and they're like, oh, it's a rematch? You know what I'm saying? And people are like, yo, but remember what Valine did to him?
Nah, I think if Valine wins, they can sell that he earned his way back to a shot. The one man to cut Tyson Fury, the one man to make him bleed.
Hey,
I can see
he's seen
it.
the White Walkers, right? He's seen the White Walkers on some Game of Thrones shit.
Listen, I honestly think he's beaten Dillian Whyte. The more I think about it, the more I think he is. He doesn't have the power of a Povetkin, so that's the issue. Whyte is always dangerous with his own punching power, but I think it's gonna be activity. Dillian Whyte is a pace fighter, and that's going to be the trouble for everybody in that heavyweight division with Tyson Fury. Showing us what he did in 2 fights back to back, being able to step on the gas on a heavyweight at that weight, that height, he showed levels. And the truth is, I think Valine, and from that southpaw style, let me stop talking about it and Google it. I got to make sure this guy Whyte didn't fight Rivas, who's a southpaw. I think Rivas is not a southpaw, but I keep assuming he is, and he is actually. Why is it not registered here? Where am I? Where are you? Where are you? Mother effer, I don't see it here. It's crazy. Oh, there it goes. Orthodox. So he's not a southpaw. Dillian hasn't faced the southpaw, bruh. And I mean, I've been watching that fight, and I'm just like, man, this guy. He's a little aggressive for Dillian.
And that's what I was going to say. Let's add to it a southpaw with that kind of work rate, with that kind of activity. You know, that's always a dangerous opponent.
And
so
aggression.
Yeah. Should he find himself in the rematch with Fury? Then yeah, I say that's well earned. You know, and again, I think
and obviously going through Dillian is earning it. Right? Everyone feels Dillian deserves his shot and has been on hold. So if you really go through him to get yours, you know you've done something.
And also what we've done too is, remember, I'm always talking about using the analogy dominoes falling. Essentially, I don't want to say like close the door, but we can put the period at the end of saying Dillian Whyte deserves. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, it is unfortunate though. I mean, not unfortunate, but I just wanted to speak the volumes of the character of a Dillian Whyte, because he doesn't have to take on these fighters that he keeps taking on. You know, he doesn't get a lot of credit because he might have swerved one or two fights, just like every other fighter. But yeah, man, I got the highlights on right now of Wallin, and from the opening round, he had Fury on his back foot. You know, he kept changing levels too, and it's funny watching Fury on the back foot here. I gotta find it. Can the chat tell me? Obviously, we're all knowledgeable. This slipped my mind. Is Ben Davison in the corner for this fight? Because Fury, Lord, man, watching Fury Wallin round one, even Wallin at the end of the rounds, like, yeah, I did that to you. Like, as he walked past Fury, like, he's aggressive. So it's gonna be interesting to see him in there with the Whyte, and he likes to double and triple the jab. I don't know. It's going to be interesting. Obviously, Whyte has a nice left hook, uppercut. You know, he's dangerous with the power. We'll see. But I'm excited for this fight. This is what I'm saying. This final quarter is amazing. Look for me to turn it up. I'm telling you. Look for me to do shows, either long ass shows or multiple shows. But this final quarter has got me very happy with boxing.
I mean, we got some amazing fights to look forward to, even this fight of it itself. Because like I said, this is something that, and I mean, I'm sure they're going to throw some nice joints on the undercard too. You know, Dillian likes to bring his guys on and, try to put his guys on his, to get some visibility.
Bro, listen, Wallin get busy. I'm watching Wallin. He took a right hand from Fury. I'm like, damn, Wilder didn't take that shit. Like, and Fury had the mean face when he unleashed that shit. But Wallin he's just got Fury on his back rope all day, bro. Like, he is just coming forward. He's a little buzzsaw, and he throwing that left, man. So, gonna be interesting for real. That's a good fight, man. Issue is, does fucking Dillian have a rematch clause on this interim title again?
Man, and if he does, that's why everybody loves Eddie.
Because, damn, if Wallin beats him, he got to beat him twice. That's crazy. Because that's like the status of a champion for Dillian, to continue to get rematch clauses with the interim. And listen, you're as good as what you can negotiate, so I ain't mad at him. But, I just want to see the division move on, and it can't do that with all these rematches. Like, I just hope nothing crazy like a draw happens with Usyk. Because AJ got the money to offer him a brand new contract if he gets that draw.
Even though we tied up.
Even though Usyk, he's a fighting man too. He might be like, nah, get me that Fury fight.
Yeah, and rightfully so, man. Rightfully so. If something like that happens. But something tells me the way it's been going, man, we've been getting a lot of exclamation points and a lot of periods, man. So Usyk could go in there and put his, either a period or an exclamation point at the end of this, and then we clearly know who we have to sort out towards that one face, one belt.
Yo, producer already told me there's a rematch clause for Dillian versus Wallin. That's crazy, bro. Oh, wow. We can't get this motherfucking division going, man. It's like A side's got to win, or the division doesn't move.
But Ness, that's why I've always been an opponent of that A side. I understand business has to function a certain way, you know, but these guys sometimes stack up, you know, those provisions in they contracts, man, and it just, yo, you want to get your equity, but sometimes the rematch is more about that second dollar amount than it is about, you know, the resolution of the two fighters. You know what I'm saying? It's just for the get back. We could double up. We could bring people back. The rematch sells more versus do we actually need that fight? You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, that really puts Dillian at a halt. Because now he definitely has to win. And if he doesn't, he's on pause yet again in his rematch. So, man, what does Fury do? I guess Fury can just take time off. I do follow his wife, and she posted a long post about, you know, the family and the fight and the feelings of being the wife and how they're going back to the regular, you know, husband and wife routine after this of putting the kids to school and putting them on the bus. So maybe he takes a lot of time off. Maybe he takes comes back in the end of the first quarter maybe. What do you think is next for Fury, since we now know there is a rematch clause for Dillian Whyte, and obviously he's got to beat Valine, and Usyk and AJ are tied to each other because Anthony Joshua and Eddie Hearn have activated the rematch clause?
I think Fury's in a real either or situation. Like either, right, Dillian Whyte gets his business sorted out and we understand that fight's going to be looming. You know, if Eddie's involved, you know, are Eddie and Bob.
They called him Eddie Rematch Room.
Yo,
and there is a title on the line, FYI. Let me just screen share here. There's a interim. It says it right there. WBC Continental Interim World Heavyweight title. So, you know, you got some sort of title. You can do some sort of rematch clause, I guess.
And this is what I'm saying. Like, you know, that's a fight, you know, that should just be, you know, it shouldn't be. I personally don't think it's a rematch clause for an interim. Like, you gotta get a rematch for holding your position. But that's another story. I don't want to go there. But for Fury, he can chill. If Whyte don't get sorted out, because remember, if there's a rematch for the interim title, then he can just chill, go back to that routine, rejuvenate, refresh. He be singing, man. That boy be singing. Listen, you ain't gotta like Fury, but you gotta respect that man, yo. Yeah, I was listening to the press conference with my wife. And she listened to dude sing. She said, "Who the hell is that?" I said, "Yo, that's Tyson Fury." He's a different kind of guy, man. So he deserves the time off, man. Bruh, let him take some time off.
I wonder, does this Fury versus Valine still exist? I'm shocked, man. Honestly, I'm shocked, man. I mean, it's almost an argument here. Obviously, I'm gonna get labeled some sort of hater, or I'm looking for views, but do you think there's a possibility Valine could have done better than Wilder? Like, did he do better? What? Did he do? Neither one won. Nobody won a fight. So who did better in losing?
Valine? Well, I can't rush to judge. Well,
I mean, Wilder has 4 knockdowns in 3 fights. Valine has 0 knockdowns in 1 fight. But I'm looking at this shit round after round, and he's landing shots on Fury, and he's backing Fury up consistently. He had a better game plan for sure. Like, he was popping that jab even from that southpaw stance. He keeping Fury super busy. Okay, so Ben Davison was definitely in the corner with Jorge Caputillo, the cousin of Javier.
So, Ness, let me say this too. I think of those 4 knockdowns that Wilder had between the 3 fights, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say only 2 of them really positioned him. I can't say that. I guess. I mean,
bro, those
those knockdowns had to be the way he was going to win. Valine can win, by going the distance and potentially outboxing, if he can outlast.
Now the thing is that he ain't even Fury ain't being the same Fury either though. He's not leaning on Valine at all. Like,
no, he was doing a lot of the rolling.
Yeah, he's trying to roll the shots. He's trying to roll the shots and slip shots. It's a different Fury under Sugar Hill. So that's what I'm saying. Does this Fury even still exist?
No. I think it's the evolution of, and so Valine may not even be able to do the. I get what you're saying. Yeah, he may be coming in against a different animal, and the shit he did last fight might not even be.
This is sad. Malik said they watched tape. He said the difference between his relationship and Mark Breland's relationship with Wilder is that when the gym stopped and Wilder went home, Breland went to his hotel room. It stopped, but see, with Malik, it don't stop. They go home. They still talking boxing. They watching allegedly tape. They didn't watch this tape.
Definitely not.
Because Valine is letting his hands go in every clinch. He punching Fury any and everywhere. Like, I'm actually excited now. I want to see if he can beat Whyte. Because, is he the guy? Like, to at least give Fury a tough fight. And remember, he's the dude that scraped Fury's face. He scraped Fury's face. Like, he don't care. And that's what you need, somebody that's going in there just as rough and tough as Fury. You know what I'm saying? Fury's definitely, rough and tough, man.
Yeah, and as far as what Malik Scott said, I think, you have to look at by whose design is that dynamic set up. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know because I wasn't there, but it's easy to say that me and this guy are closer. It's a lot of elements. It could be age. It could be a lot of things. But, I think they need to leave Mark Breland where I don't even think Mark Breland said a word yet.
He did post something that people are taking as cryptic. And all he wrote is good fight and the post of him jabbing in the ring in Atlantic City. So I don't know how that's cryptic more than, people trying to find whatever they can.
Yeah, man. Cut that out, man. Yeah, but Otto Valine maybe in store for a whole different, another type of Fury. So, yeah, man, that's a good point. We'll see. But, hey, maybe this is another Valine. Maybe he's been watching and closely and, maybe he got something different planned, a slightly different,
I mean, look, for him, it's kind of the same situation. It don't even matter. He's got to get past Dillian, and the question is, can he? But if he does, then, we got a conversation because I definitely prefer the style he chose versus the style Wilder chose to fight him.
And Ness, you know what I find interesting? I actually think I mentioned it when you stepped away. Mm-hmm. Some of the crafty, I'm saying crafty in the terms of guys that like to use, they have a fighting background, MMA and boxing. Mm-hmm. I think that style a little bit, because it's more traditional, even more traditional than what Wilder presents. I think that gives Fury a different type of fight. It makes it a little bit more, you know what I'm saying, to kind of expect that somebody going to come in there and try to knock you out.
I think we got our first guest, USS Cunningham. Steve Cunningham, what's going on, my friend?
Hey, what's up, guys? What's up?
How are you?
Hey,
we hear you.
Good morning, champ.
We hear you. We see you, man.
Good morning, guys. Just set my camera right. Sorry, I didn't know earlier.
Nah, it's all good. You're good.
All right. There we go.
So how are you?
Doing good, man. I'm in beautiful Puerto Rico for a couple weeks, sparring with Jake Paul.
Oh, wow. So he's must have a fight we about to hear about. Uh-oh.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm able to say, so I'm not saying the name, but I'm gonna tell you the truth, man. Jake Paul is all right, man.
I keep telling these jokers they was sleeping on me. Now everybody's saying it.
Jake Paul is all right. Like, I'm not bull crapping. I'm serious, man. The kid, he working, he's moving like a boxer. Shout out to his training team, BJ Flores, J. Leon Love. They really put some work in with this young man. And it's not even just that, it's dude really wants to be a boxer. He wants to fight. So people who call him just a YouTuber, I mean, they can say that, but they need to say just a YouTuber who's learning how to box. Because that kid, he putting it together, man. I ain't bull crapping.
And he young
Hey,
enough.
let me ask you a question, Steve, real quick. Yep. King, I mean the Essex, by the way. I'm definitely a big fan of your career. As far as what Jake Paul is doing, because I mentioned that if he wasn't serious, the Serranos wouldn't embrace him. If he wasn't serious, people like you wouldn't embrace him. So, I'm with you on that one. You got to throw away the label of a YouTube boxer and just consider him. He's a pro fighter, and he has, I guess, the mentality. Talk to me a little bit about his mentality on how he's able to humble himself to absorb them lessons from all them OGs in the game.
Well, he's serious. He's serious about it. That's the major thing. I talked to him a little bit. I saw him when I fought Frank Mir. He came in during the press conference, and we were talking, and he says, "Oh, Steve Cunningham." I'm like, "Oh, snap!" The young man. He opened the door for opportunity for me to get a fight and make some money. Because of Jake Paul put on the show. So you got to respect that first. People they trying to clown Jake Paul, and it's like, this dude is opening doors for other fighters to make money. Like, keep it real. I made a lot of money for a little bit of rounds fighting Frank Mir. Straight up. I ain't gonna bullcrap. A lot of money. So, shoot, sometimes I had to make that type of money with a world title as a cruiserweight.
Wow.
Crazy. So he
blessed, man. Shout out.
He opened doors. He's opening doors. Now, people who if you don't like him, like to see him fight or whatever they don't like about him, he's the main event. But the co-main event and under, that's professional. That's real fighters. So he's opening doors he's giving an opportunity for these other fighters. He's presenting a stage for real fighters to go and showcase. Look at what he signed Serrano. He signed Serrano's sister. What's her name? I'm sorry, I forgot her name. Amanda. He signed Amanda Serrano. Like, yo, come on, man. She's a killer. And he's giving her opportunity. And they're real boxers. So they're not going to put their career in the hand of some fool. This dude is on his business. He's about his work. And he's serious, man. He's dead ass serious.
Steve, obviously, you being a former world champion, but you're training your sons now, and congratulations. We're following you on Instagram and see how far they're coming. That being said, how much can Jake Paul learn at this age? You being a trainer, do you think he can be an elite level boxer starting boxing this late?
I'm going to say like this. Like, people ask me about Wilder. You know what I mean? I'm going to segue Wilder into this. People ask me about Wilder. Oh, he too old to learn new stuff. I don't think he's going to be any different. And I told him, I said, listen, when I got with Brother Nazim, I was 33. And there was a significant change in me. I was more determined. I was more precise. I was more focused. I understood certain things about my body, and the game plan was unbelievable. So I was able to be changed at 33, 34 after having a world title already. This man, Brother Nazim, came in, rest in peace, bro, came in, and I allowed him to mold me. It was because I believed in him. So it's basically the same thing with Wilder and Malik. We saw a difference in Wilder. We saw a difference. Do I think one camp is enough? No, but it was good. It was decent. But he gave his trust. He put his trust into Malik Scott. So same thing with Jake Paul. Can he be this? Can he be that? If he puts his trust in his trainers and listens to their process. I mean, look, he's got BJ Flores in his corner. Now, people can say, oh, BJ was never a world champion. No, but BJ fought for a title twice. BJ was there. BJ was a top-rated amateur. Hot damn, you know what I mean? One of the best light heavyweights at the time when he was an amateur. Shoot, I know that for a fact. So, and BJ's a hard worker, and he's skillful. So sometimes it's easier for a fighter to translate what they know to their fighter, now that they're training people. And Jake Paul, man, he's got the drive. He's got the determination. He's got the drive. Will he be an elite fighter? I don't know. That's up to him. His work ethic, the stars lining up, and But I think he already got the stars lined up because he's got the business, he's got the money, he's got the attention, he's got the fan base. That right there is a lot. So if he keeps on, let's say he fights a boxer that's he gives everybody what they want. He fights a decent boxer and he beats him. Yo, Jake Paul gonna be a huge name because he's already a big name not through the solid fan base of boxing. We know we're hardcore boxers. We know what it is, but the fan base, the majority of the fan base is people who really just don't really know like we know.
Hey, Steve, let me jump in here. I got to ask a question, and then Skip, I got to cut out, man. I got to do something with the kids. But let me ask you this, man. What do you think of Anderson Silva and his progression? And, if Jake Paul, I don't want you to give us the answer as far as fighting a boxer or an MMA guy, but what do you think of Jake Paul versus Anderson Silva? What do you think of Anderson Silva, and what do you think of Jake Paul versus Anderson Silva?
I think that'd be a good fight. I think that'd be a good competitive fight. I sparred with Jake Paul Tuesday. From what I saw, the young man thinks he's setting up shots. He set me up with a nice little shot. I was like, oh snap! He's thinking, moving. But Anderson Silva, remember, he always wanted to box. He wanted to box Roy. Years ago when he was hot. When Silva was on top in the UFC. Silva's got a good boxing pedigree. So I think that'd be a very good fight. But I mean, that's the fight I'm trying to get.
I like that one. I'm
trying to get the Anderson Silva fight. Come on, man. You can't have these MMA beating up these boxing dudes. Who's that who just stopped Evander? Man, I'll take him and Anderson in the same night.
Oh, Vitor Belfort.
Yeah,
let's get Steve Cunningham paid, baby. Let's get Steve Cunningham paid.
He got a decent.
Steve it, believe it.
He had a decent straight left, man. But yeah, man. I don't know. That's a good fight for you.
Yeah. I'm listen, man. Belfort. Listen. I'm gonna call him out again. I'm gonna hit the people up at Trill and see if they can make that happen because they're not. I don't think they're gonna get who they want. They're not gonna get Jake Paul. So hey, Steve Cunningham's ready, bro.
So, are you more interested in MMA boxing crossovers, or are you still interested in top 10 cruiserweight fights?
I mean, I'm scheduled. That's why I'm training. I'm scheduled to fight in Poland on the 22nd. What's his name? Jezuski, Nikodem Jezuski. But so I mean, listen, I'm here to work. I'm here to fight. I'm here to work. If the MMA / boxing crossover matches, present themselves, I will most definitely take them. You know what I mean? I'm cool with that. But I still got fight in me. I still got fight in me, and I've been putting in some serious work. COVID really messed up a whole lot. Just all I can really say.
The reason I ask is I know we interviewed Brandon Glanton, who fought the Nigerian F.A. Atobar. Have you seen that fight on PBC?
Yeah.
And he mentioned your name, and I was like, oh, wow. Yeah, he mentioned your name.
Is that the bro that I was on the post with and he knocked out the homeboy in the gym?
I mean, Glanton, I think maybe from either Cali or Texas. He signed to Mikey Promotions. He fights with PBC. He fought, I believe, Earl Newman, and then he fought Dion Nicholson.
And then he beat the Nigerian cruiserweight that was undefeated.
Actually, it was backwards. The Nigerian cruiserweight beat Nicholson, and then Glanton fought the Nigerian.
Yeah.
Who's trained by Ronnie. He's trained by Ronnie, by the way.
Yeah, that's the same guy. It is what it is. If Al and PBC they hit me up and let me know when and where, I'm there. You know what I'm saying? Listen.
He not too young, not too much of a killer.
Let's have the fun, baby. I mean, he knocking out dudes and sparring. I mean, and it is what it is. Do what you got to do, man. But don't. And he beat up the Nigerian guy. The Nigerian guy was so one-dimensional. He should have got stopped, not taken to the decision. Let's keep it real. But I was hoping to get that call for the Nigerian guy because he was on top.
Mm-hmm.
But again, listen, either one, I'm cool. It can happen. Anything can happen. I'm available. They know my number. They know the name. USS is legend. Let's keep it going.
For sure. Well, champ, obviously, I do want to talk to you because we done an interview with you, man. Obviously, the same year you fought Tyson, and it was your post-fight interview in the back, and I watched it yesterday. I played it live, and you were expressing your frustrations of his dirty tactics. You mentioned numerous times that he used the forearm to lift you up, to hit you with the shot, that he used his head, and you see those tactics in Saturday's fight. You see him put his head on Wilder's chest while they're on the ropes and use that head to better position himself. He's so, I hate to use the word crafty because I personally feel like those are cheating tactics because they're not part of the Marcus Queensberry rules. But how do you feel about that now? Almost how many years later has it been since that fight, champ?
8. It's been 8 years.
Damn.
It's been 8 years. You have to use that word crafty. You have to also, when you're dealing with Fury and those tactics that are not normally taught to a fighter to use. I some would call them dirty. Some I would say they're dirty because I don't look to use those. I don't have to use those. I don't want to. I want to beat you within the rules of boxing. But again, some won't call them dirty because if the referee ain't saying nothing, then it ain't nothing wrong with it. Keep it going. You know what I mean? And that's what I said about my fight. That's what I said after my fight. And Nazim said it too. You know, Nazim literally said, while we're walking on our way back to the locker room, Nazim's like, listen, he did exactly what I would have did to you. You know, you out there outboxing me, you kicking my butt. He's like, I'd have did the same thing. I'm bigger than you. I'd have put my weight on you, got you tired, and got you out of here. You know? So there was a respect for what Fury did from our team. Like, damn, yeah, you got to do what you got to do. Like, now if it comes to the point of the ref saying, yo, that's illegal, you out of here, hey, but the referee didn't. You know, Eddie Cotton, rest in peace, Eddie. He took, I think it was 2 points from Fury during our fight, but the fight was allowed to go on. So as we see in the Deontay Wilder fight, like you said, the head, that's one thing I noticed. His head, he was using that head a lot. And the leaning, listen, people have to, they have to watch Fury. He's very, very, like you said, skillful. It's very skillful how he uses these tactics in order to get a guy more tired, get a guy tired. Now, Deontay Wilder, shout out to Deontay and Malik Scott. They did an awesome job. That was a hell of a fight. My goodness, man. It was entertaining like crap. But on the negative side of Deontay, it's like his cardio is not that good, his conditioning. They worked on his boxing ability, utilizing the jab up and down to the stomach. I just would have, me personally, who knows what they really did, but it's like you didn't really see a good conditioned Deontay Wilder. He wasn't really conditioned because I think like the second round, he was showing signs of fatigue,
Totally
now,
agree.
But then now you have to watch Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury, and my wife pointed it out. Who's my manager? My wife's been in boxing for just as long as I have. A student of Brother Nazim. Brother Nazim would call my wife after fights, any fights that's on TV, and they talk. So you see Tyson Fury, my wife's like, look, every time he throws his combination, he lays on him. Boom, 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 lays on him. Boom, 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 moving around, lays on him, ties him up. That's a tactic, man. Now you're wrestling to get this big dude off you. You're moving extra, and now nobody trains like that. By now, people should be training for that if you have to fight Fury. But in all actuality, nobody goes to the gym. All right, let's do this. Let's do this getting laid on, conditioning work. Nobody does that. So Fury did his thing to wear his opponent down, which wasn't illegal because the referee did not call it. And he did it skillfully.
But wait, so you're saying it's not illegal because the ref didn't call it, but is it part of the rules though, or is it said not to be done in the Queensberry rules? Like, leaning on your opponent breaking a rule, or is it technically not? Is it this gray area?
It's a gray area because I was told when we protested our outcome of our fight with me and Fury in 2013, with the New York State Athletic Commission. Melvina Lathan, who was the president at the time, basically told us, well, tying up is part of boxing. That's what she told us at first, you know. And we're like, wow, because that was one of our complaints. Like, yo, this dude just laid on me all day. And it's like, and some of the fans even reiterated that. Tying up is part of boxing. It's part of boxing. And I'm like, wow. You know, it's like, man, you know, it is actually, you know, but it's like this dude did it so good and he did it to where it benefited him so much. It's like, yo, what is this? You know, I'm in the fifth round and I'm like, shit, why am I so damn, I'm winded. So in my mind, I'm like, I know I get second and third wins in 12 round, 10 round fights. So I'm like, all right, I get out this round. Next round, I'm gonna get better and better. And that's the round I didn't get out of. I think it was the sixth. But so I mean, really, you could just call it dirty tactics. You can say dirty tactics. Now, you call it illegal when the referee calls him on it. But this referee took no points. I don't think the referee even warned him about I don't think the referee noticed. That's what I'm saying. When you mention skillful, that's the perfect word. He's very skillful at Fury is very skillful at what he does. And it's part of his fight game. Part of the plan, and it works. Shit, it works. Look at Wilder. I think in the like 7th and 8th, instead of like trying to wrestle Fury off him, he was exhausted by then. He just took the knee. Boom! I'm gonna just get him off me. I'm gonna just take the knee, and that's what happens when you're exhausted. That's what happens, man.
Yeah, it reminded me of Klitschko and Hay. Well, obviously for Hay it looked excessive, but he didn't want Klitschko leaning on him. So you mentioned that the merger between Malik Scott and Wilder looked well. And I'm not trying to get you to say anything negative or mean, but for me, it looked like we seen everything they worked on in the first round. And then it was gone. And then it was gone. Like, I didn't see anything else after the first round. And I also never seen the head movement they worked on in all those videos they released, and we never seen the double, the triple left hook to the body ever. So did they ever call you to bring you in? They didn't call you to bring you in?
Nah, man. I mean, listen, Wilder is he's one of those guys, man. He you know, from what I've heard, he's really he runs his show, and he's this, he's that. So, I mean, I thought it would be smart to get some advice from me or something. But, I mean, it's cool. Not that they were dumb for not doing it. You know, Malik Scott is very intelligent. He's very ring savvy, you know. And from what I saw, he gave Deontay some of that. Now, the thing is, being a fighter, I know for a fact, I don't give a damn what you learned. I don't give a damn. Especially in that short amount of time. It was only probably like 8 months, you know, probably less than. So I don't care what you learned in 8 months. Sometimes that doesn't translate in the fight, you know, it's because the fight is hot, it's heavy. And then this fight alone is emotional. It's payback in Wilder's mind. It's revenge. It's the guy who beat him, who took his oath. You know what I'm saying? So it's a really emotional fight. So that's why I kept telling people are asking me, are we going to see this new boxing ability in Wilder? And I said, yeah. But I'm like, but it's up to Wilder to keep it going after the going gets a little rough. Because once the going gets a little rough, we revert right back to animal instincts. Then you see the wide open shots again instead of the head movement and the body, you know, instead of the stuff we saw the videos on. So, and I've done that. I've done that in a fight against a few fighters, you know, a few times defending my belt, where I got to the point of we had a game plan and I deviated from it because I was emotional and I saw something myself. So again, the only negative on that, on what we didn't see from Wilder that we saw in the videos was the time, I believe. You know, I think Wilder needs another camp, you know, just like that. And then another camp. Also, I believe Wilder will be world champion again, no doubt. I think he beats Fury? I think he could beat Fury. If they fight a fourth time, after Wilder has a couple more fights, and like you said, get that head movement, because you touched on it. That was beautiful. That's the major thing I was screaming at the television. Where's the defense?
His defense, and again, I'm not trying to be mean, but it's horrible, Steve.
But
like,
keep it real.
He keeps his hands so, like he's trying to karate chop the incoming shot, so Fury is getting around these shots, and then he uses his hand, like he'll put his palm on you and set you up with that right hand, man. I don't know. I rewatched the Valine fight, so I mean, I'm thinking he might be the only guy because he gets as dirty as Fury. But do you think someone beats Fury in this generation?
I really think the only one that could be Fury would be Usyk.
What?
And I'm serious.
That's that cruiserweight love. Get out of here, Steve. Come on, man.
I'm telling you.
He too small.
No, he's not. This is what I'm saying. And well, he is small, but that's perfect. See, you guys fail to realize size matters only when you're not using your size to its proper abilities. Being a smaller heavyweight, that's why I love fighting that heavyweight, because I was the faster, more agile, more mobile guy, you know, and I crack. So I can move and block and slip, make you miss as the big 240-pound big guy, 270-pound big guy. You slip one of your punches, boom, you're wide open for my counter right hand, my overhand, or whatever it is. So Usyk being a southpaw, 1, 2, Usyk being probably one of the best boxers in the past 10 years for us to ever see. Keep it real.
How's he going to stop Fury from laying on him? He laid on everybody.
Okay, again, his team is very smart. He come from that Lomachenko school. They're very smart. Like I said, or I didn't say, when I fought Fury, after I fought Fury, and I'm always thinking, and I'm like, damn, if I rematch Fury, I would do this. If I could go back in time, I would do this to prepare me for that laying on. Now, the game plan with me and brother Nazim was to constantly move. I deviated from the plan because I wanted to show the world that I can bang a little bit with these big guys, because they were looking for someone to fight Vladimir. That's what that whole thing was about, me fighting Fury. Can Cunningham fight these big guys? Can he beat these big guys? Then it was for Fury's end. Can Fury have a successful debut in America? Is he the thing, or is he just some tall fighter? You know? So me fighting Fury, I'm like, I'm going to beat him and show the world I can handle these big guys. But Fury was a different level big guy, you know what I mean? He wasn't like a Dimitrenko or, you know, those big guys. Fury was different. And but like you said though, Fury tends to bring the best out of people, and he brought the best out of me, you know, and the world saw it. So I think Usyk gives Fury. I think Usyk could win a decision on Fury. You know, I really do. Because
let me ask you a question. I hate to interrupt, but I'm just saying, you've been in this sport so long. You watched those 3 fights now, but you've been in there with Fury, and you were undersized as a cruiserweight moving up. Is it frustrating watching a bigger man than you, a man with more power than you, not being able to execute what you think you can do if you had that rematch with his size? Does it ever cross your mind looking at it like that?
I see what you're saying. Yeah. No. A lot of people say me and Deontay are similar in stature and all that. In size, he's just taller than me, or I'm a shorter than him. I watched that fight, and I'm saying to myself, like, Wilder, you have the shape, you have the frame to do this, to do that. But you know, listen. But I never knew about one punch power. You know, I never knew about getting in there and knocking a guy out, knocking 30, 40 dudes out, you know, with one punch. That's what Wilder knows. And you people say, oh, that's all he's got is the right hand. Hey, I wish that's all I had too. You know, there's no decision. There's no referee. I mean, there's no judges involved in that. Deontay Wilder has I don't even know if you want to call it a gift, a talent, or he's been just blessed. You know, he has a powerful right hand.
Definitely is a blessing, because it changed his life. Changed his life for the better.
So, and you see, he put Fury down twice in this rematch, in his third fight. So
4 times in 3 fights.
Yo, so that's crazy, man. I mean, that's beautiful. So people can argue about Wilder's not having a boxing ability. Wilder not. I mean, you know, I even, like I said, I was like, yo, the brother needs better defense. He needs better defense. But how many fights has this been since before the third Fury fight? What, 40 what? I don't even remember.
I think it's like 41 and 1, right?
Right.
Or 2 now.
41, 1 and 2. So that's 43 fights. This dude's been knocking people out since day one. I mean, you can't blame him. You can blame him, but you can't really blame him for not being what you thought a boxer should be. This dude is a powerhouse. You know, so
yeah, it's just sad though, because the positioning of his hand, Steve, is like after like the third round, he's like this. And I'm like, why are you doing? You can't stop the jab or the right hand from coming in, and he's taking shot after shot.
Well, even look at it like this too. Well, even in his stance like this, like those elbows, like I'm a coach. I coach my sons. I coach the people at my gym. Them elbows should be in. They should be in here. He had them out. They out here like this, you know. And I'm like, I'm just seeing all of these little X's, but that's his natural way of movement. You know, that's him. You know, and there's nothing you can do. But I just wish if Wilder, and you notice he went straight back.
Always.
All the time, he just went straight back. It wasn't a lateral movement.
None.
It was straight back.
They
And
were
he
working
lined
on
up.
all those videos they released of him doing these pivots and hooking off the pivot. And then we see no pivot. He went straight back and got hit with right hands or straight back and pushed into the ropes.
And that's what I'm saying. It's like you can, listen, we can do mitts all day. We can hit the bag all day. But it's up to you to get in there and execute what we've been drilling into you, what Nazim drilled into me. It was up to me to get in there and execute what, hold on, let me move because it's raining out here now. I was out on the balcony. Actually, I'm gonna just turn right here. So yeah, it was up to me to utilize what the game plan was. Now Nazim made it easier for me at times because he's like, listen, I understand. It gets hot in there. It gets heavy in there. Sometimes in a boxing match, a fight breaks out. That's his major thing. And that happened in the Fury fight with Wilder, you know. I just wish he'd utilize the defense a little bit more, man, you know, and it would have been a little better because Fury would just throw out a punch and he just landed. Boop, boop. I would love to know his percentage. That'll tell you a lot about the defense. Fury's percentage, you know, his land percentage.
What do you think would be better? And I know this is probably a difficult question to answer as a fighter you want to fight, but do you think Steve Cunningham is better suited to beat Fury in a rematch or train the next fighter to beat Fury in this first fight? Or I don't know, maybe Joey Gamache and Otto Valim bring you in if they beat Dillian Whyte because they'll be the mandatory to Fury. Maybe AJ or Usyk call you if they need, like, do you think that you're better served as a trainer to beat Fury, or do you think physically at this age, realistically, you can still beat Fury with what you know? You just need that rematch.
I say both. You know, I really would say both, and on a negative and positive note. Because on the positive, I would love to rematch Fury. That would take Brother Nazim being here. You know, and I'm gonna keep it real. You know, I will keep it real. The reason I was able to look the way I looked against Fury, do what I did against Fury, was Brother Nazim. His game plan, his intelligence was on that level. Me getting in there with another coach, it would really be very uncomfortable fighting against Fury, you know. But I do see where there's things that could be done to get Fury. You know, the major thing you have to worry about with Tyson Fury is the leaning. That's the major thing. That, especially for me, because I was evading his shots. You know, my movement, my slip game, all that. I was evading shots and I was touching him. My only downfall was laying in there with him, and because we didn't know, you know, we didn't know that this big dude was going to use this as a tactic. So now that everyone, and that's what I'm saying, even about Malik Scott or anybody who fought Fury after me, they should have. And I'm sure Malik took the. I'm not saying Malik didn't take notes. I'm just saying preparing a bit more for this land. Like, what I'm saying is, I would, in a rematch with Fury, what I would do would be I would squat more. I would completely squat more. I would squat heavy. I would take certain days and squat about 250 pounds normally, regularly and plus, because Fury's 270. So I would do that on a regular basis. Man, it's like really raining out here. My bad. It's like coming down out there. So I would do that. I would add that into my my training.
So you think again? I'm not. These are just the natural questions that need to be asked. I'm not trying to have you throw shade, but do you think the strength and conditioning coach gave the wrong regime? Because obviously Wilder came into this fight looking top heavy. His chest looked swelled. His shoulder, he looked more massive. We all noticed the weight change, and then when he stepped on the scales, he was about 7 pounds heavier. But that translated in him looking thicker.
Right.
What do you think?
I think they should have worked. I mean, and I don't know if they did. Oh, we seeing his legs. I think they should have worked a little bit more on his legs and cardio. I don't know what they did outside of benching a little bit more, which is cool. Don't get it twisted. I mean, he put Fury down twice when he was damn tired. You know what I mean? When Wilder was tired, that right hand put Fury down twice. So it worked. It just needed a combination of something else. I think after watching my fight with Fury, seeing Cunningham got tired by Fury laying on him. How do we negate that? How do we defeat that? How do we combat that? And the meaning or the way to do that is dips, man. Get them dips, man. Get them in there. I mean, not dips. The squats. I'm sorry.
I'm watching your fight right now with him, bruh. You had so much success with the jab. It's crazy.
People underestimate the jab, man. That's one thing that Nazim he bet the house on. I out jabbed Fury with he had a longer reach. It's the feet and the jab, So, like I said, my attack was perfect. My defense was perfect. It was just me getting away from him. If you watch, I think it was the 4th round, I hit him with a right hand that should have knocked him down. And Nazim said, man, if you U'd under him a little faster, he'd have fell. But Fury grabbed him so quick.
What you think about when he shoves you after the round? I ain't even remember that. I was at this fight live, and I don't even remember that. I was at the press conference. My video of him and Nazim Richardson arguing is one of my most successful videos to this day. It's hilarious, man. But he shoved you after the round.
I'm like, what is wrong with this dude? I was already in the mindset of like, something's wrong with Fury. Like, because I'm like, at the press conference, when we were, staring down, he's talking and this is before we knew this was his gimmick.
Mm-hmm.
It's his thing. So, but I'm saying to myself, we're saying like, dude, you're 6'9", you're 270, you're on paper, you're supposed to beat me. The media had me written off. I'm like, dude, you're supposed to win. What are you talking all this trash for? And that's kind of what made me angry. Like, what the hell wrong with this dude? Then he does the push, and I'm like, what the hell? but in my mind, I'm like, I'm gonna get him. I knew I was gonna get him. I just knew it. I'm gonna get him. I'm gonna get him. And then shoot, within minutes, he's on the ground.
Yeah, that was funny, man.
Yeah, it was. It was weird.
Second round, you dropped him.
Yup, it was very weird. But Fury, he's weird himself, and he's like you said, he's been fighting this depression and mental ill. So he's got a little something loose up there, man. But we all boxers have to have that little piece loose in order to do what we do.
Yeah. Well, man, I would love to see you get brought in, man, because it's certain things that obviously you can tell someone and demonstrate within the ring.
True.
It's always better to have a trainer that can physically do what they want you to do, so that they can teach it to the student. And I think you bring a lot of knowledge in this particular situation. It'll be interesting to see. Does someone decide to call upon you since they keep seeing everyone else fail? I mean, the truth is, people are failing. They're failing, man.
Really, Wilder he has that eraser.
Mm-hmm.
That eraser. He put Fury down in the first fight, and it's like, all right, let's just make that a little better. But how about we make better some other things. Because I remember Mark Breland brought out the fact that Wilder didn't run or something to that. And it's
didn't run, didn't jump rope.
Right. So it's like you're going up against a man. I know I went to camp with Fury. I was in camp with Fury for 4 weeks. Fury is a beast, yo. Like he's got cardio. Look at him in the fight. He's on his toes.
On his toes.
In the late rounds when Deontay looked like he's about to fall. Fury has cardio. Fury is in condition. Fury runs.
Does he run? He's running?
He does the rowing machine. He swims. He does other things. So it's like when I heard Wilder didn't do these things, he didn't jump rope, he didn't run. I was just like, yo, like that alone will change his fight game. Being in condition will change his fight game. And let's all keep it real. From the second round,
he was done. No, Steve, it was the first round, right? So what happened was he never threw that many punches in the fight. Think about it. Wilder just sits there. He's a counterpuncher. He's waiting on you. Boom. And he's done. Now he comes out. He's throwing 30 punches in that first round. He was done at that second round. He was tired, man. I was so mad. He was tired.
That second round was when he started showing that fatigue of that old Wilder fatigue from the last Fury fights. And I was just like, man, it's just a matter of time. Me and my wife, because we were in a group. We were with a group and everybody's like, who you got? And I'm like, listen, I'm gonna keep it real. I love Wilder. I want to see Wilder win. I'm rooting for him, but I'm leaning a little bit towards Fury. And my wife said the same thing. And we haven't even talked about it before. So we were the only 2 out of like 8 people that picked Fury to win and in our group. And everybody, we're like, hey, y'all we're the only boxing people here, man. Listen to us,
So I wanted to ask you on air about when you were in the Nationals. Right. I think that you had like a stare off with someone that you felt looked familiar to you. Do you remember that moment?
No, which Nationals? We did a lot of Nationals.
Oh man, it was. They're gonna text me now because they wanted me to ask you because you met one brother when we did the show in your gym in Pittsburgh for Border Wars. So then you seen his brother at the Nationals as a trainer for 2 or 3 of his sons. And he's like, yo, I think Steve thought I was, Joshua because he kept staring at me. And, they're identical twins. So the other brother didn't come up to you because he's not the one that met you, but they wanted me to ask.
I don't remember. Oh, man.
Yeah, he's got like 3 kids, 10.
Fight?
Yeah, they all fight. Yeah,
that's what's up. That's what's up, man.
So what's up with your son, man? What's the plan with your son?
So I got 2 sons that are nationally ranked right now. Steve Jr., USS Jr. You can hashtag that. Tugboat. That's what his name's been since he was little. One of our coaches gave him the nickname Tugboat. He's 18. He'll be 19 end of November. He's been rated top 5 amateur in the country for 3-4 years.
Wow.
Just bronze medal in the National Golden Gloves, which should have been a silver or a gold, but hey, whatever. We know boxing, but we're thinking about turning him pro. We're looking at him this year, 2022. We're looking at him, see what he looks like. In 2023, most definitely he'll be pro by then. But the goal is there's a couple things I want to see. Myself as his trainer, as his father, and as a world champion that he kind of understands, And but this is the thing though. It's like the pro transition could happen a little sooner because this amateur tournament national thing, it can be discouraging. Like I'm gonna keep it real. Like we went to Texas and fought in some national tournament in Texas, and just my son didn't perform good because of it was dehydration. That heat down there is different. We never been down there. So he ran a lot and he was just dehydrated against this guy that he would normally murder. And he just was so discouraged, like, man, I feel like crap. I shouldn't have lost it, and it beat his spirit up. And I had to uplift him verbally. But it's like, man, do I keep him in these tournaments too long to where it beats him up if he loses? Because we fought the number 1 guy and we beat him and he didn't get the decision, So that was discouraging. But this is boxing. This is all learning for him. And I talked to him because I've been on that side of the decision many times as a pro and an amateur.
and he revitalizes his love or his juice and comes back. Now, my 10-year-old Cruz Cunningham, he is.
How many pounds is he?
Oh, Steve Jr. is 152 pounds. I think he'll probably turn pro at like 147. You know,
and
he's
then you'll work him down after he turns pro at 147. You think you'll work him back down and gradually get lower, or you think he'll stay there?
I mean, if he's still growing too, but if we were to turn him pro, like let's say like now at 152, it would be at his amateur weight at 152. We'll go down like 147 because, you know, these guys, that's what they do. You know, listen, they're dudes who lose 10, 15 pounds. They can do it. And then they come in, they hydrated 150, 158, they 147, they fight in 147. So, I mean, and that really means something at certain levels. At the early stages, yeah, it won't bother us too much because the skill set and we're planning his fights. But later on, but he's grown. We'll see. You know what I mean? He's still growing. He's not as tall as me. What is Steve? 5'10", 5'9", 5'10". So at 152, I think he'll get to possibly light heavyweight probably, but that's probably in a few years.
Is that something you're looking forward to, though, like guiding a career, being as though that you've been on the highest level? You know, you were in the cruiserweight division when it wasn't popular here in America.
Should have been.
You've been with Al, you've been on PBC, you've worked with different promoters and networks. So, like, does that excite you, being able to see how well you can move your son, or is that still a scary territory? Like, damn, I hope he don't get done dirty like it happened to me, because you had to fight in foreign countries all the time.
Well, it excites me. It excites me because we get to, you know, me and my wife who was my manager, that's our goal, to like guide his career. If our son Cruz wants to turn pro, same thing. If our son Messiah wants to turn pro, same thing. But it's like we get a chance to utilize what we've acquired from me being a professional, from me being a champion, from me being the road warrior, from me having all these connections now. Now we get to do for my son what I didn't get done for me, because on the real, and I'm not just trying to make me sound like I'm some great, all right, man, that's great, I did it the hard way, but we did it the hard way. It was just me and my wife for a long time. And my lawyer, John Hornerer, once he came on board, we didn't have an Al Heyman. We didn't have a promoter. Every promoter we were with, that I was with, never supported us properly. Never. And if you play this and one of those promoters says something, let me know. Don King he just didn't see. I don't know, he just didn't see something in me. How do you have a dude who's a veteran? I'm a Navy veteran, hence the salute. Navy veteran. I started boxing in the Navy. I got with Don King. My first fight with Don was 2002. It's a year after 9/11. We're like, yo, use us, man. You can promote the fire out of us right now to people. People are so patriotic and sending their kids to the military to go fight. I'm like, dude, we should be one of the biggest names in boxing, you know? And from 2002 on to however long that, the whole thing was going on for 9/11, or the excitement, or the whatever, the revenge that America felt. But then but Don King never put into me. He sent me overseas. Who sends their world champion overseas to the Lions then? You know? So you can tell he didn't really care for me like that. Then I get with the German promoter, because I'm like, shit, I done fought over here so much. I got a fan base over here and beat their guys. Kali Sauerland. He tells me at a meeting, I was 34. He tells me at a meeting, oh, man, I wish I had you when you were younger. I'm like, dude, I'm great right now. What the hell are you talking about? That in itself told me and my wife, oh, these dudes, they just want you for the belt. We kind of knew that, because I had the IBF belt for the second time. I looked at my wife as soon as he said that. We tried to make our case. I'm like, dude, I'm 34. I'm much smarter. I'm better. I got brother Nazim in my corner. There's a whole new world of skill I've been opened up to. And it was just like, man, I just wish I had you when you were younger. And it's like, oh, snap. This dude don't want to do nothing with me. So we left that situation, got with Main Events, Kathy Duva. And really, their business is the European fighter, Kovalev, Glaskov, those European fighters. That was their business. So, You see what happened to me on HBO against Glasgow. I beat that kid. I beat him, and I didn't beat him. You know what I'm saying? So, and then the same thing with Atomic. I rematched Atomic, beat him, outclassed him, but I didn't beat him. And you know, so these people, they didn't put in me until I got with Al Heyman. Al Heyman really, and not even, he's not a promoter, he's an agent, but he put me in positions to where I could maximize my money, maximize the my audience. You know, more people can see me. And those fights, with the Tarver fight was a draw, which I thought I won, but then the Glasgow fight, the Glavatsky fight for the third title, I lost. And then Dibiase, that was what it was. And, you know, so it's like, hey, you had your chance, champ. And I'm like, I feel you, you know what I mean? But, you know, I took my break, opened the gym, and I've been trying to get back in since 2019. And then COVID hits, and then boom, we're there. But so with my kids, he's going to have the ability to utilize our Rolodex that we've created over my career, and it should be better for him, most definitely. And not even just that, our knowledge and understanding of boxing is much different. You know, me and my wife's. So we'll be able to guide him and help him. We know this about contracts. We know that about this. You know what I mean? So they'll be in a much better position than I was, no doubt.
So we got 2 questions left. We got Ruin of 504 New Orleans that says, who are you fighting next? Also, can you tell Ness again that Usyk has a chance at beating Fury? Thanks.
Yes.
He's saying that because I just think he's small, and watching him do that to you, watching him do that to Wilder, who's bigger than you, it's like, how is he not? He was in that second round, he reached out for Wilder to lean on. He reached. So it's like, he knows what he's doing. He's going to do it to anybody.
Fury perfected, like you said, he's skillful at that. And that's part of his game. Now, like I'm saying, I give Usyk and them the credit because their training team is phenomenal. You know, with Lomachenko and Usyk, look what those guys have done. And so I think they will see, all right, look at what he did with Cunningham. Okay, look at what he did with Wilder. All right, this is how we avoid that. I think they'll come with a dope game plan. And then just outside of that, Usyk's movement won't allow him to be laid on like that as much. You know, so I'm rooting for Usyk in that one. You know, I'm not just rooting for him. I'm rooting for him against Fury, like, oh, I want him to beat Fury. I believe his skill set is enough to do it. Now, what was the other question?
Who are you fighting next?
Polish guy named Nikodem Jazuski. I'm scheduled to fight him October 22nd. So I've been training my butt off, and I had an opportunity to come here and camp, get some more work, get some solitude, and go to work. So that's what it is. So we'll see. We're going to work, baby.
All right, we got Israel Rubber in Oklahoma. He says, we met in Pittsburgh. You were a very gracious host. From one Navy man to another. When next in Oklahoma, lunch on me. Thanks for coming on the show.
All right, man. Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Well, thank you again, Steve. We appreciate your time. As always, wish you the best of luck, obviously, with your sons in the gym. Beautiful facility. Let everybody know where that gym is at in case they want to go get a workout in and get trained by the champ.
All right, man. Listen, hit us up on Instagram and Facebook, USS Fight Academy. We're located in the Pittsburgh area, North Versailles. Beautiful facility. We host our own shows. We had the Boxing Voice there with their show. It was great. It was entertaining. It was crazy. We loved it. And like we said, the door's open for them to come on back. Also, for you guys that don't know about my comic book, USS Comics, I turned myself into a superhero. And the guys that I fought in the supervillains, my first comic book, 3-part series with me versus Amir Mansour, Hardcore Mansour. Check it out at USS Comics on all platforms. At USS Comics, the third and final installment to USS vs. Hardcore, it will be out at the end of October. Let's go, baby.
So is Tyson in the book?
Nah, he's not in the book because I kind of, when I first did the comic book, it was about my cruiserweight opponents. Mm-hmm. And then I decided when Travis Kaufman was going to fight Amir Mansour in 2017, I shifted the story. I had a whole comic book drawn, but then I was like, yo, let me use that fight to help promote the comic book. So I'm like, draw just a short skit about me and Amir Mansour fighting to bring some attention to the comic book. And that turned into 90 pages, 3 comic books.
Wow.
2 years later.
That's amazing.
But it's been successful, man. It's been selling, man, and people love the story, man. I'm doing everything, the art, the story. I'm doing everything. So that's kind of what took it so long. But I also, with USS Comics, am turning other fighters into superheroes. So my next comic book I'm doing won't be about me. It's going to be about, you know, my sons, the USS Fight Academy. But Austin Trout has a book. I have a book that I'm almost done with Austin Trout. And then I got Danny Garcia on board. We tried to get Wilder on board for his second fight with Ortiz. PBC hit me up and was like, listen, hey, because they follow me and, you know, they know what I'm doing. And they were like, listen, how about you do a short skit, you know, on the fight, before the fight. And I was like, oh, snap. Like, yo, this is it. And so they got the green light from Ortiz. It was Ortiz's team, but we couldn't get the green light from Wilder. You know, that was a little sticky. So it didn't happen. But now that I have books out, you know, I'm going back to PBC soon, and we're going to talk about some type of deal. You know, I got a plan. I don't want to talk too much about, you know, don't talk about what your next move is. Well,
I got Frank Warren on the line, so maybe he'll give you a call and you guys could get into that Tyson Fury comic book business.
Hey, oh, no, listen, I'm with that, too. I'm good with that because, I mean, I drew a couple pictures of Fury and Wilder, like, before their fight. Before the big fights, I used to draw, you know, just the characters.
Yeah.
In comic book superhero form. So you guys can go on USS Comics on Instagram and just search through. You'll see I did Daniel Jacobs. I did Fury before. I've done Ruiz before the Joshua fight. You know, check out my creativity, man.
Well, Steve, give out that information for your social media one more time and where they can find the comic books. And I'm going to go ahead and get this interview going with Frank Warren, the promoter of Tyson Fury. But we appreciate your time as always, man. Thank you for coming on.
All right. Again, the comic book is USS Comics on all platforms: Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. My personal Instagram is USS's Legend. All right, on Instagram. Hit me up. Check the comic book out. Check out the art. Drop some likes. Appreciate it, everybody. Thank you.
Appreciate you. Thank you once again. Ladies and gentlemen, we're in for a treat as we have Frank Warren, the promoter of Tyson Fury. How are you, Frank?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Happy to have you. Thank you so much. I know this must be a very, very busy time and you're being pulled in many different directions. We appreciate you coming on the program. I just want to, I guess, get your take, man. Let us know how you see it live there and get to experience history.
Yeah, well, it certainly was historic. There's no doubt about that. It was an epic fight. You know, Tyson was came out dressed as a Spartan, and that's what it was. It was that type of performance. I mean, it was just amazing. But it took 2 guys to make that performance. You know, Deontay obviously played a huge part in it. I mean, I said before the fight, I was talking. You know, we was doing a few interviews, and I was asked how I felt the fight would go, and I just felt that the only way Deontay could win the fight, he'd have to come out and impose himself. And that's what he did. He came out in the first round throwing a lot of body shots, coming in low, obviously looking for Tyson to drop his hand, take a wing over one of those big punches of his. And he did it well. I thought Malik Scott, if that's the tactics they were working to, I thought Malik Scott did a good job. And Tyson, you know, I'm always, when he's in the ring, I've seen him in the first fight against Deontay when he went down, especially in that last round. How he got up, I don't know. But you always feel with Tyson, he's such a strong guy that he's more than capable of recovering, and he has massive recuperative powers. And as we've seen in the two fights where there was 4 knockdowns between. He was knocked down 4 times in those 2 fights. But the fight was unbelievable. It was real edgy of seat stuff. Both guys, when Tyson was boxing behind his jab, he was brilliant, and then he threw caution to the wind. And it was, as I was saying before the fight, it will wind up being a shootout, and that's exactly what it was. And all these people who think Tyson Fury doesn't punch, they ask Deontay Wilder. He can punch. He's a 6'9" guy who moves sometimes like a middleweight in the ring, and he's just an amazing fighter. And that for me that's probably the best live heavyweight fight I've ever seen.
Frank, could you give me the origin story? Because obviously, we're fast forward to Tyson being probably the greatest heavyweight of this generation, but I want to know, how'd you discover him? How'd you end up with him? I do believe he was with Mick Hennessy at one point, right?
That's right. In the early days he was. And then his sort of career was faltering, nothing was happening. I met with him and his trainer and uncle at the time, Peter, and we did a deal. And within a couple of fights, I got him into the spot to be the mandatory challenger to fight Klitschko. He fought another guy that was with me at the time, which was Derek Chisora. And Chisora was coming off of, I think it was about six really good wins against decent fighters. And I felt that Chisora would probably beat him. But that night, he was unbelievable. He was moving from southpaw to left, to orthodox. He used every trick in the book, and he absolutely destroyed Derek Chisora. Derek never won 1 second of any round, and eventually he got pulled out. And I said to him immediately after the fight, I said, "You do that against Klitschko and you'll beat him." And that's exactly what he did. He went to Germany again in the other guy's backyard, went to the other guy's country, and gave him a boxing lesson. He's got such unbelievable skills. When you think what he'd done with Klitschko, who was the heavyweight of his generation, I mean, Klitschko couldn't lay a glove on him. He's tactically so bright, so on the ball with it. And then obviously he's been out to the States now 3 times, trilogy with Deontay. I think he got robbed in the first fight, but he never complained, no moaning. Second fight, done an absolute job on him, and again, he stopped him again in the third fight. And that for me, fighters who go on the road and do that's something special. Everybody wants home advantage, and for a Brit, especially for a Brit, to go abroad and do that, it's I find it's amazing, and it's great testament to him and his confidence and self-belief. He'd fight anywhere. He would go anywhere. Nothing phases him. In the dressing room before the fight, he's singing, he's dancing. He's an amazing athlete, and yet you look at him and you never think so.
But how was that bond formed though? Because I remember when he decided to come back after the long layoff and ballooning up in weight, he was offered some contracts by a lot of people, but he decided to remain, or rather go back to Frank Warren. So obviously there has to be some sort of relationship, bond, friendship, something that you've done or earned, and we just would like the story.
Yeah, well, I think, what happened when he came back, he contacted me and we just sat down, and I liked him. I always liked him. He fought Chisora twice, and the first fight, after he won the fight, I said, well done, you really boxed well, and you did what you had to do. Chisora came in a little bit heavy for the fight, but he did what he had to do, Tyson. And I see him. Every time I spoke, we got on fairly well, not great friends. And then he fought, as I said, he fought Klitschko, and then he was supposed to do the rematch on my station, Box Nation. And what happened was he had basically fell out with his uncle, Peter, who trained him, and with Hennessy. He left them, and he asked me if I would get involved and look after him. He was 150 pounds over his fighting weight, and And we just hit it off. I took him into the TV broadcaster who I've got a contract with here, and I said, I'm telling you, I want to do something with him. And they were sort of a bit hesitant, to be quite honest. And we sat there, and I said, he's going to come back, and he's going to come back stronger and better. And I promise you, he'll wind up being the best heavyweight of his generation. And they're words that I actually used in there. I remember saying it to them, and it weren't like a hype or a selling job. It was the fact that I genuinely believed that. And Tyson said to me, yesterday we was talking, he said, what a journey we've been on. I said, listen, I'm a passenger. You're the guy who's taking us on the journey. All right, I've made a few of the fights, and we've felt I've made the right moves for you. But at the end of the day, what you do when you get in the ring, you've been amazing. And he is an amazing character. When you think where he came from, with the drug problem, the booze problem, suicidal thoughts, was really contemplating suicide, was at the depths of despair. That for me all showed in that fight on Saturday. The ups and downs of that fight, and his will to come back, his strong will to survive, to not be beaten by anything. That is Tyson. What you see on Saturday in that ring reflects Tyson Fury as a person and his life. Refuses to be beaten. He's a true fighter in more ways than one.
Frank, we had Lou DiBella on not too long ago, and he was discussing, Richard Comey and having decent fighters, and sometimes as a smaller promoter having to give over the rights of that fighter to a bigger promoter. Do you feel, in retrospect, you made the right decision because you and Fury are where you're at because of the merger with Top Rank? Or do you think you and Fury would have been here regardless of what direction you would have went?
Well, we would have been there regardless. But the thing is, I've known Bob for many, many years, and it was a decision, and it was a look. It weren't about me being the guy to hang up, to say no, you can't get near him. Nassim Hamid was with me. We brought him to the States and done great business with there. I've done it with numerous fighters over the years. I started the Showbox series on Showtime out there when Jay Larkin was at Showtime. We did stacks of stuff, but there was such a great offer that came in from ESPN. How can I say to him, don't take that money? It is huge money. And, it's life-changing money. He's got a family, and it set him and his family up. They're secure for forever, for probably 10 lifetimes. So that was the objective there. At the end of the day, we work very closely together. I'm hoping, and we believe, he'll be fighting here next year in the UK, which will be a great homecoming. As you know, the British fans over here, they love their heroes. They get behind the fights, and there'd be nothing for him to sell out, an 80, 90,000 seat stadium, especially after Saturday. He's on the front pages of the newspapers here, and I don't mean a little picture. The biggest selling newspaper in the country, the whole front page is Tyson Fury. It's just, and when I come through the airport, all people were doing was talking about it. Saying well done to can you say well done to Tyson, etc. He's probably now one of the most famous athletes on the planet, bar none. You think about it. He's conquered the States. The fans loved him in the venue. There was no British fans were allowed to travel because of the COVID restrictions, but that audience I thought was about 60-40 in favour of him, and they were Americans. And Deontay Wilder's an American. He's won over the fans, and at the end he got a massive ovation and a lot of love from the crowd. So he's an amazing character, and if you look at his record, he's only been active in the last 7 years for 2 of those years. 5 years he wasn't active.
No, he's definitely proven that he is this generation's best heavyweight. So you're saying that next year it'll be a homecoming fight. So what's changed from fight night till today? Because on fight night you were asked that question in the ring, and you didn't answer it the same way as today. Today, you seem sure that he'll be doing a
No,
homecoming.
no. What I'm saying is that's what I said is that's what I'd like him to do. That's what I'd like to happen. So we're going to see. Look, the end of the day, the only person who's going to decide what happens is Tyson. He's the guy getting in the ring. He'll make the decision. But I'm hoping that he will come back here because the fans want to see him. They want to see him in London or Manchester, wherever he decides to fight. But the fact of the matter is, it will be his choice. But wherever he fights, it's going to be a full house.
So Frank, can you explain this WBC position granting Tyson 30 days to negotiate with Usyk? But it sounds like Eddie and AJ have activated their rematch clause for Usyk. So does the 30 days that you were granted to negotiate, is that null and void since the activation of the rematch clause?
Unless Joyce steps aside, then that's not going to happen. Only if Joshua steps aside, then it could happen. But who knows what he's going to do? If I was him, if I was advising Joshua, I wouldn't go straight back into an Usyk fight. I mean, he looked terrible in that fight to me. I mean, you know, could you imagine if Joshua would have been in with Deontay, let alone Tyson? He would never. He just would never take that pressure. So, if you know, he needs to rebuild and try and come back and going back straight back into an Usyk fight. I think Usyk will stop him next time. And his trainer, Usyk's trainer, said through an interpreter that Usyk said through an interpreter that his trainer told him just to box him and not go for the knockout. He wobbled him in the early part of the fight. In the last round, if that had been another 20 seconds, he would have been out. The corner was swinging a towel round to throw him.
I see that.
So, you know, for me, he doesn't. For me, they should leave it alone. But you know, that's their business and not mine. They'll do whatever. And in the meantime, we will do what we've got to do. And the WBC will obviously make their final decision and say when his mandatory is due and who it's going to be against. In the meantime, Dillian Whyte is fighting Wallin, however you want to pronounce it. And I don't think that's an easy fight for Dillian Whyte, by the way. I think he'll have his hands full.
He will have his hands full. Actually, do you make predictions or do you stay neutral? Because I'm interested. I think.
No, I think Wallin has the beating of him.
Yeah. I was watching the Wallin fight this morning with Tyson, and I'm like, I don't think that. First of all, Dillian, I don't remember him fighting a southpaw. Secondly, I don't remember him fighting someone as active in terms of high output as Wallin. Like Wallin was keeping that jab and even punching on the inside with Fury. He might have, you know, it could be argued that he might have done a better job than Wilder, you know, outside of those knockdown rounds for Wilder.
Well, look, he did well, but remember, Tyson had a horrible cut, and it did hamper him. I mean, it was a very bad cut. And to be quite honest, you know, I thought the referee may even have stopped it on the strength of the cut. But thankfully, he didn't do that, and Tyson got through it. But that can happen in boxing. You know, you get a bad cut, it can hamper you, and it's how you deal with it. And Tyson did deal with it. But I do think I think your observations about that fight are quite true. He's got a good jab. He's a big guy. He's strong. And one thing about him, he's got balls. I mean, he tried in that fight. He really tried. He took the fight to Tyson. And remember, you know, Dillian Whyte ain't, you know, he ain't no Tyson Fury.
So we got a question from the public. Mr. Adore says, thanks for coming on the show, Frank, and wish you continued success. How many fights will it take before you can get David Avanese in a world title shot again?
Well, we're working on that. I'm really delighted he came on board with us. He had a spectacular win on TV here a couple of weeks ago. Excuse me, and he's come over and signed with us now. So we're working hard to hopefully make his dream come true. He'll get a world title shot. I'll make sure that happens.
And for Fury, you don't see him fighting until end of the first quarter?
Yeah, look, he needs it. That was a tough fight. And I know he was out partying afterwards, but it was a tough fight. And and he's been training constantly for, you know, all through the lockdown. and that your body sometimes needs a rest, and you need to take a little bit of a break. So, in my opinion, he should hold up until February or March.
If Wallin isn't successful and Whyte does win, do you think that fight is a fight that you and Bob can put together with Whyte without having to be mandated or purse bid or ordered from the WBC?
Well, look, we either will or we won't. If they order it, and if Tyson wants to go through with that defence, then we'll do everything we can to make it happen. If not, if it goes to purse bids, then so be it.
But that's what I mean. Do you think that's a fight that can be negotiated without having to go those other routes?
Well, I would hope so. I hope the quicker we can get it done, if it is the case, and if Tyson decides he wants to defend against Whyte, and he did say to me about a month ago when we was doing a press thing, he wanted to fight. He said he'd fight Whyte at Christmas or December. So at that stage he had no problems with the fight. So if it is, then we just have to sit down and see where it takes us.
Beautiful. Now, Luis Ortiz has verbally put out an offer to Joe Joyce, who you promote. I wanted to ask, have you gotten any conversations, any phone calls from maybe a Louis DeCubas Jr.?
We made an offer. We made an offer, and I was told he didn't want the fight. So he needs to go and talk to his people, because we want to do that fight. If he wants to do that fight, tell him to get his guys to call me, get Louis to call me, or whoever, PBC, whoever it is, call me, and we'll make that fight in a heartbeat.
So when you said you made an offer, was it sent to Louis DeCubas? Because that's kind of his manager.
I have to find out. Off the top of my head. I don't know. It's in my office. It's done by the matchmaker. But 100%, there was offer. We were told there was no interest in the fight.
Would you say it was a respectable offer?
Yeah, well, I mean, if you're saying there's no interest in the fight, that's as far as it goes. But let me just tell you something. You want to fight Tyson Fury, you want to get in the ring, then the gatekeepers for that are the guys in the number one position, who are the mandatories. Joe Joyce is in that position, and Joe has no problem in doing that fight. No problem at all.
Right.
And for Ortiz, that's the best chance he's ever going to get himself into a good position.
And when we're talking about Daniel Dubois, how realistic is the Trevor Bryan fight? And do you have a timeline that you would like to put that together?
I've got a date in December, and we definitely want to do that fight. We've reached out to the WBA, and we're waiting for them to come back. And he's with Don King, as you know, and I think there's a lot of litigation going on with the WBA, with both Manuel Char and with Bryan. But the way to make it work is just to fight one. I don't care which one of them or both of them. Fight Daniel Dubois again. He's in a really good position. We're strong in the heavyweight. Queensbury, we've got Tyson we work with the other two guys, with Joe and with Daniel. So we're in a real, with good quality heavyweights. So there's some great fights to be made. And as I say, from my perspective, all the ones you've mentioned, there is no problem with us putting those fights on. So, if you feel like you guys want to pick up the phone to Don or wherever it may be and say, let's do it. We've been trying to make these fights, and these guys don't want to fight our guys.
Does Robert Helenius make sense now, coming off of 2 back-to-back wins from Adam Kovnacki, for a Joe Joyce or a Daniel Dubois?
Yeah, I like that as well. I thought he'd done well, didn't he? He boxed extremely well. He done right. He done right, Robert. And that's not, again, that would be a good fight to make with one of the guys.
And would you do Helenius and Dubois for the December date that you have, or you think a Dubois Helenius needs more promotion, or maybe Helenius needs more time coming off the Adam fight?
I think that needs a bit more promotion. The fight I would like to make for Daniel is either he's the WBA number one, is with either Char, who's there, whatever belt he's got, I can't remember what it's called now, or against Bryant. That's the ones we want to make. That's why we make, when we were told we could make the interim fight, that's why we made the interim fight. We didn't do it for any other reason. That's what we were told would be happen. So I want them to order that fight. Order it and let whoever, I don't care who promotes it. If we've got to go to purse bids, we go to purse bids. So let's just get it on.
Now, what about Andy Ruiz? Have you sent any offers for Andy and Joe Joyce? That seems like a fight that the public would like. Is that something you're interested in since you haven't sent an offer?
I haven't spoken about him at all with anybody. That's not been a conversation. I haven't even spoken to Joe about that. So I'd have to speak to Joe first and see how he feels about that.
How do you feel about that?
I think Joe Joyce is a handful. He's a big guy. He's a tough guy. And I'll tell you what he's got. He's got plenty. He's got big balls. He's relentless. Keeps coming forward at you, coming towards you, and he'd fight anybody. I mean, he's a handful for anybody. A handful for anybody. He's got a great pedigree. Got robbed in the Olympics, as it's turned out now. They look like they're going to award him the gold medal now. Because of all the scandals in the Olympics, so he's a quality operator, Joe. And what I like about him, he's changed over the last couple of fights. He's now lost that weight. He was carrying a bit of weight on him, so he's got that weight off, and he's got a bit more speed now. So I'm pleased with that. But Joe. You look at his record. He's he didn't start off fighting a load of guys that you normally put fighters in with to sort of get them some experience. He went a little bit of a higher level, and he's done extremely well.
Absolutely. So I want to ask, with Tyson, who do you think stands the best chance? Obviously, you're his promoter. You think he's the greatest heavyweight, but what's his toughest fight now that the Wilder trilogy is done? Is there another tough fight out there?
Look, he's the guy to beat. Of course, there's tough fights out there, and I'm sure there'll be some great fights to be made from him. I mean, he's never going to be complacent about anybody, but there are some great fights from him. I mean, look, even the fight now. Although I don't think it's a tough fight for him, but even the fight now would sell in the UK, him against Joshua, that still would sell in the UK. And for me, there's only one winner, but that would sell in the UK still. There's...
I was just going to say, since Usyk's win, there are people suggesting, like I just had Steve Cunningham who faced Fury, he still thinks that the former cruiserweight champ Usyk can beat Fury. How do you see that matchup playing out?
Well, I've got to be honest with you with that fight. I think they're both guys got similar skills. Both got good hand speed. They got great footwork. Both of them got good boxing brains. Both got good jabs. Both of them got good trainers. Sugar Hill has done a really good job with Tyson, and I think Lomachenko's father has done a fantastic job with Usyk. The big difference is, though, Tyson is 6'9", and he's not going to do what Anthony Joshua did. He will not be on the back foot, and he will. I see him out jabbing him. I think he's just too big for him, and I would see him coming through that fight. Whereas Joshua did not for 1 second impose any of his physical attributes on Usyk. For me, I thought I said if Usyk's standing at the end of the fight, he'll get the decision because he'll just be standing at the end. He'd have outboxed him. What I was shocked at was the way he outboxed him, because I thought he'd be trying to get under his jab and work inside, but he was out jabbing, which was amazing. The smaller guy was out jabbing the bigger guy, and He for some reason, I can't say he didn't show up, but his tactics didn't change from round 1 to round 12. He done the same thing every round. Whereas Usyk was was using making the best of what of his attributes, and but he would that wouldn't be like that with Tyson. It would be I think it would be a really good fight. They're a good quality fight because they're both quality champions. Usyk probably the standout cruiserweight of the last few years, and he's certainly done well since coming up. Certainly against Joshua. Again, another guy that goes into the other guy's backyard, not worried about the crowd. Those two guys, they're superb fighters, but I just feel that Tyson will be too big for him and too strong for him.
So my last one, obviously with you now in business with David Avanesian, he's around number 6 in the WBO. Do you think with the relationship with Top Rank, he'll be able to get a fight with Crawford, or you think Crawford will be too tied up if he gets the win with Porter, seeking bigger and better things?
I was talking to Bob the weekend about it, and we'll see how it goes. But look, he's 33 now, David, and he's an exciting fighter. He's strong. He's very exciting, and you don't want to be waiting around too long for a world title fight. So, as I say, we have had a conversation, but we'll see where we go with it.
Well, Frank, it's always a pleasure. I appreciate your time every single time. So thank you for coming on, and keep doing what you do. If you have any social media that you want to give out, please do so, and we appreciate you.
And I appreciate you having me on the show. You look after yourselves.
Thank you, brother. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen.
Bye.
Promoter Frank Warren, promoter of Tyson Fury, David Avanesian, Daniel Dubois, Joe Joyce, and others. That should be some good news for the boxing public there. The Luis Ortiz turning down the Joe Joyce fight, that's going to be huge amongst the community. What's up with that, Lou? What's up with that, Lewis? Hey, remember your daily Probellum update. Sam Jones now signs with Probellum, and he's their talent relations for the UK. Yeah, they're buying up the block out there. They're buying up the block. Oh, Richard Schaefer, man. Remember, Probellum is Richard Schaefer. And, yeah, man, we're talking boxing over here. We're going to open up these phone lines. You know the number to call in, 1-425-569-5241. Press 1 time. Voice your opinion right here on the Voice of the People hotline.
AI, AJ, hustling hard, all they want is a payday. Like Mayday, I go hard, these niggas crazy. Talking about they want money, fun that. The box is seen, I run that. Undisputed, I done that. Do they really want it? But now they're running like Sonic. They were talking, standing there. I gave them offers, now them bitch niggas walking. Where they at? I can't see them. I would never wanna be them.
Yo, I mean, you back. What's good, champ? I was over here rocking out with AJ.
Nah, listen, Frank Warren gave us some gems. Steve Cunningham gave us some gems, man. We got some real gems this morning on TBV, man.
Yeah, man. I mean, he hurt my feelings, though, man. He said Lewis turned down that fight, man. That's Lewis better announce that. That's the only way, because when Lewis turned down the AJ fight, he took the Wilder fight. So if you turning down a Joe Joyce fight, you better be getting that Andy fight. You can't just be turning down these pound checks. They giving you pounds out here, man. Get that GBP? Go get that. You down with GBP?
Last time I heard the pounds is heavy weighted. You know what I mean? You don't want to be dealing with them pounds if you could get. I mean, excuse me. You want them pounds if you don't deal with them dollars. Get them pounds, bro.
For real, man. Let me get to this. I got an 11-month chat here. My man Teddy B, Midwest Sports Talk, says Teddy B celebrating 11 months of being a member. Shout out to you. We appreciate that. Let me add in. He said movie theaters are 10 times better experience than watching at a bar. Also, shout out to all y'all for the great shows over the weekend. Wildin is getting this win, so rematch room will be in full effect. Let me see what that is worth, man. Cause that Fury knockout paid lovely at 275. Actually, it was 110. But let me open up these lines, man. I was just about to do that, and then you jumped on. I know these guys ready to talk. I want to see who gonna say what about Luis Ortiz, man. Yo, how you gonna do this to us twice? With AJ, yo, he did it with AJ. He turned that $7 million down. Now he turning this down.
Subscribe to youtube.com/theboxingvoice for the latest and greatest interviews with your favorite fighters.
Remember to rate us 5 stars on iTunes.
These calls are brought to you by Big Rigs Trucking Agency, experts for all your insurance and trucking needs. For quotes and consultations, visit us at brtagency.com or contact us at 908-943-6918.
We got Osiris Boxing. This says, as a White fan, I'd rather he doesn't take this violent fight. I think White will lose again and make me 600. Damn. So you already found the odds, huh? Who's next? We got Big Matthew. What up, Big Matthew? Big Matthew won some money over the weekend.
Shout out to him.
Yeah, I think he sent me his betting slip. Big Matthew says, Wallen had been only before the fight. A reality TV show was filmed and released after the fight. Tyson had serious weight issues. Tyson was 254.
What is that in relation to? I guess.
I'm wondering if he maybe made the mistake of putting Wallen, and he meant to say Tyson had been only before the fight. A reality TV show was filmed and released after the fight. Tyson had serious weight issues. Maybe the Wallen was a mistake because we were talking. I know I was asking, was Ben in the corner with Tyson for the Wallen fight? But then obviously while watching it, I noticed he was. We got LV Slugger. Good to see you still around, champ. Don't go dark on him. You know, they all lose, man. He says, did Fury have to wait his career high versus Wallen? I bet you. What was the pounds, though? I'm going to look it up for you. Look it up. Odo Wade.
Nah, I guess
he weighed 36. He was so that weight difference was better for him. He was 236 and Fury was 254. So yeah. But I don't get what LV be saying. Like, so you mad that Fury strategically, intelligently ganked the weight?
But that's where I was going with it. I'm like, you know what I mean? I'm not really sure.
He adjusted. So Deontay gets credit for adjusting and hiring a new trainer, but Fury doesn't get credit for adjusting to the power by beefing up.
Yeah, and again, it's not a popular position. Somebody says, I'm not even beef up. I'm just going to bulk up. I'm a chub up. You know what I'm saying?
It looks like that, but they made it clear. Like I watched the interview with Sugar Hill. Is not just fat, like, and obviously he's functional. You look how functional he was. That shit ain't fat.
Listen, and his arms. What I like most is that his arms and his upper body appeared to be like regular, very dad. He looked like a dad bod. This is a dude you don't want to bump into buying your kids funnel cake and you running your mouth wrong because you're gonna be like, this big doser, and he got the mitts. He looked like, and one thing they say about fat, especially stored fat, gives you energy for the long run. Stored fat gives you energy. So what people is thinking is love handles perhaps is a part of that strategy. He's got muscle underneath, but he's got some of that stored energy that he can tap into at the late round. Look at what people thought of Andy's gas tank. You know what I'm saying? In the Joshua fight. Now he's lost a lot of that weight, and I'm not saying we're questioning because he's thinner, but we're questioning how does he adjust to being a thinner man when his success was perhaps a little bit more bulkier. Or chubby, if you will.
So what do you think about John Fury? Obviously, John doesn't have anything to say. He's not really the man to help Fury decide what's being done. I think Fury's his own man, and I think he marches to the beat of his own drum. I think he likes his checks. That being said, open quote. In my idea, it's Alexander Usyk. Nah, that's a horrible John Fury voice. Alexander Usyk, next or nothing. I wouldn't bother with the rest of them. They're not in Tyson's class. Would Dillian Whyte deal with Deontay Wilder? No. So why put him in there with me son and get him knocked out? I've told him, Usyk or don't bother. And this is John Fury talking to Michael Benson's Talk Sports.
Yeah, I think, and kind of consistent with what you said, man, Tyson Fury will do his own thing. Even when, his dad was taking a different position, like Tyson said, nah, whatever. I mean, I think ultimately his dad is positioning it for me like if Tyson wants an out, because I think he knows. Well, let me ask you before I say this. Was his dad the one pushing for the AJ Fury fight, or was he one of the ones that said, nah, there's too much contracts involved?
I don't know exactly. I know that he specifically was like, bruh, if you ain't getting like 200 or something, maybe he wanted some crazy, huge amount. And he was like, yeah, we not even being bothered without if it ain't that. So
I guess in knowing that, I can say, John is consistent, and he's consistent in what he believes in his best interests of his son. Thankfully, he's not the promoter. And in this instance, and I'm not sure, what role is he, if he's the manager or not. I'm sure Tyson got veto power over everything. So he calls his own shots. I'm sure his dad has an opinion, but I don't think dad's opinion sways what he actually does.
Speaking of Pawpaw, open quote, he's tarnished his performance. Wilder. It was great. Great performance. He fought his heart out. He fought like a warrior, but his behavior at the end just let him down totally. If you get beat by the better man, you say, put our differences to the one side, well done. So another person, obviously, that doesn't appreciate Wilder's exit from the ring without, accepting, I don't know, what do you call that? Well,
sportsmanship. Because, and this is what I'll say, and I don't want to, sound redundant, man, but even in, I was coaching football when my son played football and whatnot. In every sport, they make you line up and do hands or whatever. And even to that point, when the kids are resistant, the adults, the coaches often be the ones to extend that bridge. So there's something about, dignified behavior within the lines, within the ropes, or whatever the context of the sport is. So, I'm not going to criticize the man because that's his choice and his opinion. And I, if I'm being objective, I got to agree with John and those of that ilk that say, yo, man, for what it was worth, it wasn't like it was real street beef, although it was perpetuated at like that at sometimes, I guess, the passion behind it. But, yo, you know what I'm saying? Water under the bridge now. They both can go their separate ways.
We got Donald Banks that says, my man Steve USS Cunningham, shout out to you. And then we got Mello from Sugar Hill. Rest in peace to the LDBC. Their king got beat and decapitated. Y'all love to hate on them boys, man. I never seen.
Well, I'm going to say this. I'm not going to go too deep into it because I don't really listen to too many other platforms. But I think I was talking to one of our alumni yesterday. Shout out to JD. And, sometimes I think fighters, if you don't really understand what's going on out here, sometimes a platform might use you for clickbait. You know what I'm saying? If you don't have your own sense of what's going on, you might think they coming and saying like, yeah, man, come on and speak your piece without, being, objective or having enough integrity to still have their own opinion. Almost like they, kind of prop you up to make people laugh at you even more. So I always respect, everybody that's doing their thing, man. But that's again, you know, you don't go to the press conference, you don't do no post-fight interview, but you go to, I mean, I don't care what platform it was. I would say, I feel like you just got to stand and speak your piece loud enough for everybody to hear. I don't like whispers. I'm the kind of person like when somebody whispers always get misinterpreted. We never actually hear everything that the person's saying. So, you know, shout out to everybody on their platforms.
Word. We got Big Matthew that says Fury camp for Wildin was awful. It was filmed on TV. Okay, so you're saying that that's why he looked bad in the Wildin fight, not because Wildin was good. Brandon Lynn says, we're going to get Wilder Fury 4 before the Wrestling Voice episode 1, aren't we? Yo, I'm more upset than anybody. I'm ready to go. You know, I got everything ready. But look, it'll happen, man. Believe me, it'll happen. And when it does, it's going to be rolling. It's going to be rolling, man.
The Wrestling Voice. Listen, and I've been waiting to say this, man. I got to be real, man. If any of your body old enough to remember, Ice Cube had a line when he put out No Vaseline. You know what I'm saying? And if you know about NWA, you know what I'm saying? They had to lighten up the load. And I love everybody in the community, man. But, you know what I'm saying? Started off with too much cargo. Dropped 4 niggas, now I'm making all the dough. So the Wrestling Voice is here, baby. The Wrestling Voice is something that everybody's passionate about. Anybody that's passionate about it is still invited to participate, man. But I'm telling you, when we pop out, it's going to be lovely, man. That must mean Brandon, you know what I'm saying? He's going to be tuned in. And I know everybody in Texas is going to be behind Brandon, tuned in to the Wrestling Voice. So, you know, that's just the demand. Got to feed the streets. I feel you, Brandon. We're going to feed the streets. We threw out them testers. I heard somebody passed out off them testers. Now everybody want that pack. So we got y'all. We coming with it.
Let's go out to the callers, man. Steve, I got my Jimbe. All right, we going to my Jimbe. What up?
What's good, Ness?
How are you?
How's
Good
everybody
morning.
doing?
Another day, another podcast, loving life.
I hear you. Man, I really don't got much to say. I think, I don't know. I really don't want to see the Fury Whyte fight. To me, it just doesn't make sense. I understand he can't drop the WBC to, you know, and then just fight. And then fight Usyk because then it's not really a unification and Usyk still has AJ problems to deal with. But I don't know, man. I mean, I don't see Whyte. First of all, I think Otto is going to beat Whyte anyway, but then I don't want to see Fury and Otto again. So, I don't know. It seems like the heavyweight division is kind of, you know, on a standstill right now, waiting for these fights and rematches to get situated, and then I guess we'll find out what happens. But another thing, you know, I think, you know, where is Fury going to fight Whyte? The Whyte Otto winners. He going to do it back in the UK? I mean, it seems like the US is his home.
Nah.
How many?
That was Frank saying he wants it to be back in the UK. He wants to see Fury come to the UK, but it's not in the UK. And when he was asked that question live on camera, it's like I told him, you answered this different. That's why he had to re-up, be like, no. I'm not saying he's gonna fight in the UK. I'm saying that's where I would like him to fight, but we all know he's an American fighter now with Top Rank. It's a wrap.
For sure, he's an American fighter. I mean, he literally serenaded Las Vegas. He didn't do, you know how he always sings a song for his wife or whatever? No. He sang a song to that city. To me, that says everything. You saw how the crowd really accepted him. I mean, he's an American fighter.
An ode to the city, Mayimbe. He gave an ode to the city,
an
right?
ode to the city. Yeah. Yep. Yo, but that's my call, man. I'll talk to y'all next time.
All right. Yeah, man, he's a Vegas boy now. He liked them Versace suits. He liked them suites. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, them hotel suites on the 88th floor.
He a resident.
He liked that shit.
He got a residency, bruh. That's Tyson Fury, residency at MGM. He's the king now, man. Let me go out to Cincinnati over here. Actually, Steve, what up?
My town up in K-Town.
Hey, Daddy.
This a Dolla beat.
I drink soda, I eat pizza, I hang out with chicks all day. These fighters still can't beat me. They fighting every day, they in the gym every day. Just give me 6 weeks, and I got it.
BoxingVoice.com.
Hey, good morning. How you guys doing?
All right.
How's my audio?
What up, Steve?
Straight so far.
All right. Hey, is that Wallen? If he win, is that an eliminator or what is that?
Nah, he's already the interim.
Wallen wins. Is he be?
He'd be the interim champ if he wins, just like Povetkin was.
So why is he a mandatory to Fury? Or are you just saying that?
Because WBC already said that Tyson Fury has 30 days to negotiate with Usyk, or he got to fight Whyte. Whyte's fight is the 30th of this month.
But how can he negotiate with Whyte when he already has it? Like, that doesn't make sense to me. Does that make?
Yeah, it makes sense.
Maybe I didn't catch something earlier in your show.
Yeah, it
how?
makes sense because
he's already got a fight.
Wilder's fight just took place on the 9th. 30 days from the 9th would be November 9th, which means the Dillian Whyte Valine winner already happened 11 days ago or more. You get it? They fight on the 30th.
So the winner. So I'm just saying the winner. So what I'm saying is, if Wallen wins, is he the mandatory?
Of course, champ. But he ain't.
Okay,
he got,
all
but,
right.
but there's
That's all I wanted to get.
But there's a rematch clause, so it really don't fucking matter. Rematch room, they got it down pat. So if Wallen wins, he got to win twice. So that's why we was talking to Frank to see what's Tyson gonna do, because, you know, he's obviously gonna be not fighting fucking Whyte.
And maybe that's where Steve was going with it.
If
and
Whyte doesn't win, Fury's gonna fight someone else. But if Whyte wins, yeah, because we're held up. But if Whyte wins, then everything goes as planned.
So, you know, I don't want to cut Steve off, but I think that's the point. You know, when I said that too, it's kind of like you got a whole extra fight over an interim, but you know, you got to get things sorted out in this division, and this is the only way to do it. Should Whyte have been sorted out a long time ago? Perhaps, you know, deservingly so or rightfully so. Should the Wilder Fury should have been sorted out a long time ago, rightfully so or deservedly so. But this is progress. Let's not be short-sighted, my friends. Let's not be short-sighted. This is progress because, again, if Whyte wins, then we don't have to double back. But if he loses, you know, where's the soundbite? We missing Doomy. I gotta protect my investment.
Yeah, man. They got that boy on good paper, man. That's all you need to know. If you find Whyte, there's a rematch, man. He got an interim title, and look, I don't like it, but I respect it. Why? Because whoever has that belt has a direct shot at the big belt. Who has a direct shot at either Fury or Undisputed. Like, Whyte's position is a very good one. Let's be real. You know, Wilder needs Whyte position at this point. That's it. He has no ties to that belt. And we'll see where the rankings put him when it's all said and done, when they update where the WBC has him at after the loss to Fury. Right now.
And to double down on it. Okay, my bad.
I'm saying right now, before their update, he's at number 1. Dillian Whyte is the interim. Tyson Fury is the champ. So Wilder will drop. Or not. Maybe not.
And by the way, guys, if you think Wilder deserves the fight, if you think Whyte deserves the fight, then can you imagine if Walling wins? You know, he would feel terrible because he got the rematch, you know, that he has to do. But, you know, I think you'd hear some public outcry, you know, that he actually fought his way back into that position if he beat the guy that was, you know, if you beat up the doorman. And it's no irony that, you know, Dillian Whyte was once he's once a bouncer. He was once a doorman. If Valine beats the doorman, you got to let his ass in the club, man. He shouldn't have to pay the cover if you get to whoop the bouncer's ass.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Eddie wants to fight. He's always wanted the Dillian Whyte versus Tyson Fury fight because he would be doing his job for his fighter. You know, getting him the biggest fight of his career after losing to AJ. So But I quote, Eddie Hearn says, as fans, we should be calling for Tyson Fury versus Dillian Whyte. Imagine the buildup. Imagine the fight. It does well over 1 million pay-per-view buys, sells out of a stadium. That is the fight. The winner fights the winner of Usyk versus Anthony Joshua 2. So in theory, it sounds good, but again, White has a fight on the 30th. And just once again, shout out to the boxing gods because, I mean, it's just good fight after good fight after good fight. This last quarter is just banging for real. But let me get to some more callers. We got the Steve. I'm going to Brandon in Cincinnati. What up, what up, what up?
Hey, whole nother time zone. Jumped up for back with our mind on. Can't play when you here, get your life stole. If you bring it here, then the price grow. From jabbing and punching the line long. I drop a pigeon, let 9 go. We slap with the fake glass and white go. This only happens in Ohio.
What's that word? Good morning.
What up? Buenos dias.
Good morning, sir.
Chilling. Piggybacking off what Frank Warren said, I believe Luis Ortiz turned that fight down. Otto Wallin came out and said he had a fight with Luis Ortiz, and he signed this out of the contract, and out of nowhere, he said Luis Ortiz pulled out of his contract for their fight. So Ortiz ain't the boogeyman niggas make him out to be. That's just some, YouTube myth to make Wilder's resume look a little better because that's Wilder's best win. But let me move on. What I think will happen, I think White will lose to Wallin, which will push that fight into a mandatory rematch, which will free Tyson Fury up to take some a little lighter. I think you can see Tyson Fury fight a light touch sometime around the time of AJ and Usyk's rematch. I think Usyk is going to win. I think Fury will win his light touch, and we'll have undisputed at the end of the summer 2022. As far as Wilder, I think Wilder's going to be out at least a year for a few reasons. For one, he took a bad beating. 11 rounds of just being pummeled and punched with little to no defense. He broke his hand and his knuckle, according to his trainer, so that's going to take some time to heal up. And financially, he's a fighter that demands a big, big payday. So you can't just put him in there with anybody and pay him what he's been making. So he's going to be kind of like in the situation Keith Thurman's in.
He'll
What
never
fight
be in
can we
Keith
put him
Thurman.
in?
He'll never be
Yes,
in
he
Keith
will.
Thurman. Bruh, he could fight Andy. Because if Andy beats him, then Andy's this huge pay-per-view star that anybody wants to fight.
Ness, can you knock it the fuck off? We seen what Andy is worth. Andy is not worth what you niggas try to make him out to be, bro. He's not a big name.
What do you mean?
We just seen him do 100,000 on pay-per-view. Nobody gives a fuck about Andy like that, bro.
100,000?
Come on, man.
I'm not even going to argue with you, man. I'm not even going to argue with you.
What the?
Nah, man. I ain't going to argue with you. You're going to have to pay for extra time. Get your ass out of there. You lying. Andy ain't worth none, but off a loss, he got offered $5 million in a pay-per-view fight with Dillian Whyte. So then Andy ain't shit. Andy ain't shit, and off a loss, he does a pay-per-view with Areola, and then he's offered even more money with another fight with Dillian Whyte. But Andy ain't shit. Andy ain't shit.
But
man, shut your weird ass up.
Brandon made a good point about Wilder being a big purse fighter, but I think he's got more options than that because say an Andy fight, right? That's the fight you do in Alabama or in Atlanta. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't even have to be a big time Vegas fight if they don't want it to, or it could bring it to LA, whatever, right? Doesn't have to be in the prize fighting city of the world. Doesn't have to be in Vegas. They could do something smaller scale, but opponent wise. Andy ain't the best out there, but it bring him closer to, if the fight does or doesn't happen, that commonality with AJ. I still think that that's the fight, win, lose, or draw, whether he comes back a year from now or whenever, especially if AJ's on an up trajectory, they could market it as unfinished business for AJ on his comeback trail. Or, this is Wilder's resurgence. Do we even believe him this time around? Such and such and such and such. So,
Brandon, let me set this time up for this guy with this whack-ass argument. Go ahead.
Yeah, let me cook your boots real quick. If you put Andy and Wilder on pay-per-view, That shit will do about 200 to 250,000 buys. So you're gonna do tank pay-per-view numbers with a fucking budget of that's probably 10 times more than Tank's budget, and you're gonna take a massive loss putting Andy and Wilder on paper fucking view, a fight nobody wants or cares about. Ness. And keep in mind, people, this is the same guy that said he wanted to do Andy versus Carlos Negron on pay-per-view. So you know what makes business sense. Get the fuck out of here. That's my call.
He know I always said Areola from the minute he won the Anthony Joshua fight. So if I ever said Negron, that was a secondary option because he's Mexican versus Puerto Rican. And there's two things you don't see. You don't often see a Mexican heavyweight champion, and you don't often see a Puerto Rican heavyweight, period. You know, you got two, Negron, Ruiz. You ain't cooked shit, champ. You ain't cooked nada. Like, bruh, Wilder, first of all, you just showing your hatred for Wilder. There's no way Wilder versus Ruiz does the same numbers as Ortiz. You out here giving Wilder Ortiz numbers when Ortiz is the one that don't know English. We talking about a dude that got 37 registered Mexican Americans in this country that can buy the pay-per-view. 37 million of them. He could tap into those. Yeah, he didn't do great numbers with Areola, but that wasn't Wilder. Like, but all right, man. You know, your hatred runs deep. Your hatred runs deep.
But plus, if people think Wilder's finished, they'd say again, yo, is he going to get finished? He was a hype job from the beginning. Can he be finished by the guy that beat AJ? And is Andy Ruiz on the way back? Can he beat, two guys? Can he take out? You know what I mean? It's
but not only that,
man.
These boxing fans, they sit here and they say, oh, man, the golden era, the best used to fight the best. Leonard fought everybody. Hearn fought everybody. So why can't Deontay Wilder and Andy Ruiz fight? One fought Fury, the other fought AJ. It's a natural fight. There's a lot of hatred in his blood, man. I don't understand why. It's crazy.
Shout out to Brandon.
Coach J. Mack, what up? You available?
So you hating?
I'm that guy. What you want to bet on? Bet 100,000 on that. Let's bet $1 million. You getting that money, right? Easy. Let's bet $1 million easy. And I for the bread. When I him, y'all gonna say he was too weak on my life.
Okay, bow down, bitches. I'm about to handle business. I'ma teach you all a lesson. This'll only take a minute. Got a part and all this passion in my blood. Niggas hating just because. Think about it. Everybody love Bud. J Mac, where you at? Where you at? All these niggas hating on me. Shit is whack. So official with it. Only check the stats. Hey, I'm out here trying to get it. Next, I only got a minute. Get ready for the back attack.
Yo, good morning. How it sound?
You good?
Top of the morning, J Mac.
Hey, top of the morning, man. No love lost on me. Just a passionate weekend. I still feel how I feel about what I said. Shout out to Tyson Fury. If he need to go on and be the guy to go for undisputed, I'm with that. I'm ready for guys to start really getting in the ring with one another. However, I'm not a big fan of Dillian Whyte. Still don't think Dillian Whyte should be in a mentioning against these top guys. I think he's just like a rag doll that's in the way. However, if Wilder did need a touch up coming back, Dillian Whyte will be a perfect candidate for that. I think that'll be a good build up and somebody that can walk into Wilder. As far as AJ should definitely get that rematch. Usyk beating Fury. Well, I was a little bit taken back by that. I don't think Usyk can.
Cut it.
I got a poll that I want your answer. Obviously, our good friend, the AJ of trucking. Is it the AJ of trucking? Brandon in Cincinnati sparked a new poll question. Deontay Wilder versus Andy Ruiz Jr. pay-per-view buys. 1 million buys? 500,000 or more buys? 275,000 pay-per-view buys, same as Ortiz pay-per-view, or 150 to 200,000 buys. What does a pay-per-view between Deontay Wilder and Andy Ruiz Jr. do? Head on over to our poll right here at youtube.com/The Boxing Voice and give us your vote on what you think that pay-per-view can do so we can settle a score here with our good friend. And, you know, sometimes people seem to call him Caller of the Year, Brandon in Cincinnati.
Definitely.
Yeah, you know, I won't hate. I'll say that people believe that, but I'm purposely doing it. I want them to remember that this used to be a person that was associated with Caller of the Year, but now he's gone so far off the deep end with his hatred and biasness of Wilder that, you know, he's choosing to say things like Luis Ortiz and Andy Ruiz would be the same person in the equation of Wilder in a pay-per-view. It just doesn't make sense. And, you know, I think he went off the deep end. Talk to me.
Are you suggesting he's experiencing a bit of Bobism, about a bit of Aramism?
Yep. And
he's suffering from a bout of Aramism.
And I think that comes from, you know, the frustrations of having to see Bob not get his favorite fighter the right fight. So he assumes it's always like that. But people that actually generate money, they don't have a problem getting big fights. You know, and that's Wilder. You know, he didn't have an issue having two networks argue to pay his mandatory. Remember, it was two networks wanted to give him $20 million to fight Brazil on their network, but he forgets that for whatever reason. He's sometimes, you know, again, my producer told me stop name calling. So he's just a very great caller that is busy on the road as a truck driver. So it's not all clicking. It's not all clicking right now, but he'll be okay once the poll comes in. We going to Symbol in Maryland, D.C. What up? Symbol. Yo.
Hello?
Yes. Hello.
Hi, this is James.
So your name is James?
Oh yeah, sorry. It said I didn't realize it was me because I don't know how you got my name, but yeah. So although
you're
Fury
James
looks good
though,
in the
right?
fight,
You're James though, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Help us out with that background
Yeah, so,
noise, James, please, brother. We want to hear your call.
Okay, hold on. So although Fury looked good in the third fight against Wilder, I thought he looked better in the second fight, and he had better footwork and better head movement. So I think if you went in against Usyk, he might do better at a lighter weight, like maybe 265. Because I think Usyk might be able to get at him, you know, with the movement he showed in the third fight against Wilder. I don't know what you guys think about that, but.
But do you think Usyk beats him?
I could see it going to a decision, and I could see Usyk. You know, you don't want to go to decision with Usyk. I think you know, when it comes down to like an Olympic style boxing match, I think it's really hard to beat him. You know, it's hard to outpoint him. So I like to see Fury a little bit lighter than he was.
All right, James, I got you down. We're going to Kansas City. Mad Bent, what up?
Mad Bent.
I didn't get I didn't get my call yesterday for Wilder and Jagba. Jagba was very disappointing. Looked super one-dimensional. Wilder fought well. Tyson fought better. I think Wilder lost energy because he was nervous, man, anxious. He had an energy dump. Second round, he was tired. I don't think it was his conditioning. I actually think his conditioning have him to last until the 11th, taking the punishment. But we all were looking and seeing there were times where it looked like Wilder would come back. The right hand would land. When he got dropped, he got up, knocked down Fury, There were times in the fight we saw him got dropped in the 10th, and then at the end of the round he was wheeling on Fury, throwing punches. But I think he had an anxiety, man. I think it was just not wanting to lose, and he came out hard in the first round. All right, peace.
Yeah, man. I said that yesterday, man. I think it was the anxiety. When you want something so bad, bruh, you tense up.
Like trying to get that cat for the first time and you can't perform. When I was a young man, I remember those days, man.
Had an
Energy
depletion. Energy depletion, man. I talk about it all the time on Border Wars shows from my first time fighters. Like, get a lot of sparring. Because when you get in that big fight, that first real fight, and I'm talking Border Wars, gentlemen, for anybody just tuning in, I'm talking about, I always give this advice to the Border Wars fighters because this is different fighting in front of people and just sparring. So you want to get as much sparring as possible because once that real fight happens, shit is serious. We going out to Brandon, the producer.
Let's start with this. I'm a creative genius.
SDS.
And now, the most dangerous producer on YouTube, Brandon in Houston.
Brandon in Houston. SDS Promotions.
Yo, I kind of was compelled to call in today because my man Brandon Maurice tripping. Like, how can you say that? How can you say that Ruiz and Wilder would only do 200,000 buys? Do you understand? Like, you don't think that Floyd gave you the blueprint on what to do and how to make money, and that's bring in the Mexican fans. The Mexican dollar is probably as powerful as any dollar in boxing. So when you put their champion, the one that was the unified champion, the first ever Mexican heavyweight champion, in against Wilder, and if you ever notice, like whenever you see people talking about your team and the people really celebrate right now, a lot of the times, no offense to anybody, but a lot of the times it's like the Latino community, like they like to see, they want to see Wilder get his ass whooped. So you don't think they will pay good money to see Wilder get his ass beat by Andy Ruiz? Come on, bro. Like, I think that's at least 500,000 buys, man. And I might be being very generous with that, but I don't see how that could fail.
Now, according to our poll, that's only been out 88 minutes, we already got 40% believes 500,000 or more buys. 16%.
Oh yeah.
16% believes 1 million pay-per-view buys, and 28% believes 275,000 pay-per-view buys, same as Ortiz.
Yeah, Brandon is tripping. Normally he's a very, like, when it comes to Wilder, you're right. I think he strays off the target a little bit because normally he's pretty accurate in his assessment. But
they both from Alabama. They both from Alabama. They both the same age. They probably went to school together. Wilder probably, you could fill in the blanks, man.
Okay, I see where you go with that. Come on, Brandon Maurice, man. You're supposed to be caller of the year, man. You can't be making these outlandish statements like that, bro. That's my call, man.
All right, bro. Yeah, man. I mean, look, man. You never know why people say what they say, but
Yo,
Floyd
and you don't think.
No, go ahead.
You don't think that that part of the fan base, and I know Brandon, the producer, wasn't generalizing, neither am I, but there's a part of Andy Ruiz's fan base that's gonna feel like, yo, yeah, our guy beat both of y'all guys, whoever the ours and y'all is. That's worth at least $500,000. You know what I'm saying? That's $500,000 from the fucking door.
Nah, listen, I'm with you, bruh. I'm with you. And it's a challenge for Andy. Can you do it? Can you do it? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And now there's a blueprint. And Andy's style looking a little more bad for Wilder right now. He can't deal with combination punch. He don't block well, bro. Until he start bringing that shit here and dropping down as well. Like, he just throws the hands up and he's like karate chopping incoming shots. That ain't gonna work, man. Not with Andy and
And
the motherfucking combination punches.
what do you think about this? And I think we might have said it on that night, but what if Wilder and Frank Sanchez? Or do we think Sanchez's chin isn't able to hold up?
That's a good fight. Cause Sanchez did what he had to do to earn his position. I will not hate on him. But I'm not more excited than him and Wilder and Andy. I take Wilder
No,
and
definitely
Andy.
not.
I take Wilder and Andy in the summer. I take Wilder and Andy in September. If Wilder on some Earl Spence Jr. shit, I'll take Wilder Andy, Cinco de Mayo, Las Vegas. No, we don't need no belt. We don't need no stinking belt. And let me tell you what Mauricio gonna do to be a part of that anyway. He gonna make it an eliminator. He gonna make it an eliminator. We gonna skip Joe Joyce. We gonna skip Luis Ortiz. That's how they gonna do it. They gonna be like, well, Joe Joyce is ranked number 1 in the WBO. Ortiz done got beat twice by Wilder. Andy's Mexican. Voila! Eliminator. That's simple.
Put it in the pot.
That's simple. Let me get to line 6. Reed. What up?
Hey, Ness, what's going on, man?
What's good?
Hey, man, I just want to say, bro, I'm going to eat my crow, man. I was saying Wilder didn't know how to box. He sucked and all that kind of stuff all the time. He showed me, man, he really could box, man. I mean, it's unfortunate that he lost, man, but he looked it pretty sharp those first 3 or 4 rounds. That was probably the best fight I've ever watched in my entire life, man. I was at the edge of my seat. I was like, damn, I was looking at my son, and we were like, damn, bro, man, like, this was worth every single cent. The undercards were live. I think Berlanga kind of got exposed a little bit, but I had been saying that for a while, that he was just overrated. He wasn't ready for people saying he was ready for Canelo. There's no way. That kid's got a lot of work to do. But, hey, that's my call. Have a good morning.
All right. Rod, North Carolina.
Hey, what's going on, Nancy?
What up?
Good interviews this morning. I enjoyed both interviews with Frank and Cunningham.
Appreciate it.
I was just thinking about Cunningham. I was just thinking, man, the American fighters, we have a lot of knowledge and we have a lot of gems in this country, and I just wonder, should boxers use these old guys? Make a connection with some of these older guys, because I really believe it will help them. I don't know if they reached out to Cunningham or not, but that would have been a great thing.
Yeah, that would have been
because he would have explained to them.
He would have.
Yeah, he would have explained to him. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we the same size, man. And let me tell you what this dude gonna do. He gonna lean on you. He gonna grab on you. Even if you just have him just to talk about it, so you can actually work on it.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying? And like I say, I'm worried because the heavyweight division for the United States is going to kind of diminish here for a while, because over the pond they got them all over there.
Right, excellent call, man.
Great call, Rod.
That's what
Great
I was
call.
saying, man. I'm shocked they didn't even call him. Like, dude, when you think about it, 2 people have had success with Fury. Steve and Otto. Call him. What's the big deal? Know what I'm saying? The trainer could have called. Malik could have called and got that. And listen, they could have paid Steve to come in. Come in, imitate, replicate, spar with, give some advice. At that level, you so rich, you making so much. I seen some rumors of the purses. I don't even know. Is that I'm waiting to see what. I don't care, but I seen some rumors on, like some numbers on them IGs. Some of these IG posters be having.
Yeah.
I was like, damn, is that even real? Fuck.
Yeah.
'Cause that shit was
What,
huge.
60 burger?
60 for one and 30 for the other?
Yeah, like that's quite a disparity.
I
But
mean,
it's good money.
I know the second fight was 60-40. Second fight was 60-40 his way. Yeah, man. We going to Brandon on that counter punch. He got another.
Hey, Ness, go to J Mac first. I want to hear what he got to say, just in case he got to get some smoke. So go to his and then come to me next.
Nah, bro, it's who paid, man. And nah, I'm fucking with you.
Oh,
I'm fucking with you, man. Go ahead, J Mac. J Mac about to come for you just because you was thinking
Yo,
of coming for him. Now that's how he do.
nah, that was pretty strategic for the troller of the year, but I ain't got no smoke for Brandon. I done slept it off. I done left my emotions over the weekend. Like, shout out to Fury, he the man, and I gotta respect that. Never had a problem with Fury being the man, just had a problem with that second fight. Like I said, but if he the guy that's supposed to unify, do it. I don't believe Andy Ruiz is the guy that. Brandon actually brought up a good point. If he was, they'd have backed him when he fought. Uh, uh, Chris-
You breaking up, champ. How about you call me when you pull over? Cause we can't hear you, champ. We can't hear you. We last stopped hearing you at they would have backed him. It's the last word we got out of you, champ. We going out to Hawk in Maryland. What they do?
Don't forget Brandon Maurice on the counterpunch.
Oh shit! I'll be right back, Hawk. Shout out to Brandon. What up?
yeah. First of all, let me address what you said about Alabama. Anybody that know me know I've been a player, whether it was in Alabama, Ohio, or anywhere around the globe. I've been suited and booted.
What you about to assume? I ain't said nothing. I said y'all probably went to the same school.
I thought you was gonna say he probably smashed my girl or something.
I see why you
Okay,
assuming that. I just
well,
said y'all went to the same school. I said fill in the blank. So now we know where your head at. So we know what happened.
Nah, that's what I thought you meant. Because I was trying to let
He
you know,
took your
man.
prom date. He took your prom date, man.
I've been smashing Telly Swifts, man. I didn't have to become a millionaire to get that caliber of woman. Check my
Listen,
resume.
I don't
But
know,
let me
man.
move on.
Sound like he took your
Let
prom
me
date.
let me move on. And I get tired of paying to counterpunch people because I feel like I'm educating people and I'm paying to educate people when y'all should be paying me for this shit. Wilder's buzz was at the top of his game when he was undefeated fighting Ortiz in that rematch.
Ups. You shouldn't have been talking about no tellies that you ain't got,
Nah.
and we'd have got to hear you, man. Nah, go ahead.
Nah. His buzz was at the top of his game when he did that 275. With him making all these excuses and then losing, not only did he lose, he showed bad sportsmanship. He lost more fans than he gained.
I can't, man. It registered what he said. He said when he was on the top of his game is when he did 275. How? The top of his game would be the first Fury fight, right? Or the second Fury fight, which did more. I'm so lost.
That's got to be considered the top.
You know what I'm saying? Because he did. First Fury fight was what, 325. Second Luis Ortiz 275. Second Fury fight 850. Now they in this one. Like I'm lost. What he means? Like he showed an upward trajectory. Like J Mac says he's available for that counter.
Yo, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, you sound a little different on your end. I don't know if you move your mic or something.
Nah, I'm good.
There you go. Yeah, you sound better now. I would say I don't think Ruiz hold the weight that you giving him. I think it'll show in that Chris Areola fight, and I don't think he'll get the back end to fight Wilder. I think it does no more than 300,000. So I do agree with Brandon on that. Sanchez against Joe Joyce. I think Sanchez should get a lot more talking about. I think he'll be a great up and coming Cuban fighter, and I think he can be actually a lot of these guys we're talking about. Maybe a lot of guys right now, presently. So I'm looking forward to see what he's done. A lot of people ain't been talking about him, but I think that was a good way he shut out FA. Even though FA kept his hands in his pocket, he still made him fight the fight he fought and had FA gunshots scared to throw those punches. What you think about Sanchez and Joe Joyce?
I don't mind that fight. We just I think I brought it up to Frank. But Frank, he wanted that Luis Ortiz fight. Yeah, I don't know why you guys don't think Andy? He said what he said, 300,000. And let's go with that number. I mean, how much is Wilder making? I mean, how much is he making now with no belt, back-to-back losses? You lose money. You lose value. Like, it's not a disrespect to him. You lost
No,
twice.
not at all.
You lost twice back-to-back and lost your title. It's not like you lost and regained and then you lost. It's different. You lost and then you lost.
So if they offer those guys, if they offer 7 and 5, you know what I mean? Give Wilder 7, give Andy 5. Right?
7 and
That's
5.
fair.
Wait. So Bud and them, okay, 7 and 5. And Bud and Crawford got 6 and 4. And 7 and 5 is 12. And then we do $300K that Brandon is hating on. I don't agree with $300K. Our poll indicates that $300K is that's low. 26% believe 275, 17% believe 150 to 200, 16% believe 1 million, and 41% believe 500,000 or more. So, at an 80 smackaroo, that's $24 million. You got to divide that, though. You do the 50, you divide that by 2, and you at 12. So that's all the money right there. But then you got the gate, which it was announced yesterday that Wilder Fury 3 is one of the highest gates in heavyweight history, or some jazzy line they found.
Sure. And look, I'll give you a number for that. I think for the first one, they did between 16 or 19 million at the gate, something like that. Let's just say 16 on the low ball.
Mm-hmm. So they could definitely do it with 300,000. Put this in LA, and you sell out something in LA because it's Wilder and Ortiz. I mean Ruiz. I think Brandon is. I don't know. Maybe he just wants to be the one to debate today because this is.
I think the $500,000 is where it's at. $500,000 at least.
And if you look at our poll, it's 4 options, right? 2 of them could be considered decent pay-per-view numbers and bad pay-per-view numbers, and 2 other options could be considered great and good, or somewhere even in between, maybe excellent and good, meaning somewhere in between, because we got 500 or more. So Wilder Ruiz could do 850 and we be calling it better than good, like they did great numbers for 2 guys with no belts, hypothetically speaking. So I don't know. Again, it seems like the poll is split 50-50, right? Because there's 2 good options, and that brings us to 58% of the people believe that Wilder Ruiz would do 500 to 1 million. And then, obviously, the other percentage, 40-something, believes that they would do 275 or less. That being said, let me go out to JP out here in Long Beach. What up?
Long Beach in the house. Yeah.
King Amin, Ness, good morning, y'all. Happy
morning.
Monday to you.
Happy Monday, Chin.
Good morning,
Best
brother.
day of all of Yeah, man, best day of our lives. It's the only one we got. All the others are in the past, the rest are in the future. So let's take care of this one. My thing is this, man. I see it like this. Tyson Fury, rightfully so, he pulled up to the Klitschko conference with the Batman outfit on. He is Batman. That is very fitting for him. Here's the thing about Batman, though. In every Batman movie, the nemesis steals the show. Batman is boring as fuck. Whether it's the Joker, the Riddler, the Penguin, nobody's really there for Batman. It's the other person stealing the show. That said, I don't believe Fury can get no money out here in the States without Wilder, without his nemesis. I don't believe he can get no real money. Maybe he got to go fight Usyk. They'll do a good number there. Maybe Joshua there, but not here. Wilder, but what Wilder can do, and this is important, man. Wilder's in the position he's lost. He won't be the king. He probably can't beat Fury. But what he can do to give back to the sport is take the narrative of
I'm a warrior, and I want to fight all of them. I want to fight Ruiz. I want to fight Joe Joyce. I want to fight Dillian Whyte. And whether lose or draw, we can get that old feeling back of guy just going out there putting on great fights. Win or loss, fuck the O. We don't need the O.
Cut it. That's why I like cutting off. There was definitely something I didn't agree with, and it was in the beginning of that conversation, so he got lucky, man. Because can't remember. It's all good. Adrian.
Ask him right quick.
Yo, what was the beginning of that?
I said Fury couldn't get no money out here.
Ah, yes. Needing Wilder is his thing. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. While I didn't think about it, obviously Fury is an American, but I talked about it, whether it was the immediate reaction or the morning after. Like, he got a lot of cheers in that post fight, man. You heard Frank today say that he felt there were more people there for him than for Wilder, and he's not from this country. And it's all about the right opponent, which brings me to some breaking news. Steve Cunningham was on, which reminded me that Kevin Cunningham is going to be training Big Baby Miller. And that's an American nemesis right there. If that's what you're looking for, if that's what's needed according to JP in Long Beach, then Big Baby is the villain. The Great White Hope keeps taking out the bad guys. You know what I mean? and that's what happens because he's coming back in 4 months. So he's going to train now with Kevin. And if that works out and he sticks with Kevin, Kevin has that in. Just like Steve said, now I got connections. Kevin got those same connections. We all know what that is. We all know where he might end up now. So, yeah, that's a possibility. But other than Big Baby Miller, who do you think Fury could fight in America on pay-per-view? Is JP right in your opinion?
I mean, he's got some points. I thought about saying, but what about Joshua? But remember, Joshua's tied up with Usyk. So,
but what about Ruiz? If Ruiz is good for Wilder, he's got to be good for the guy that beat Wilder.
Yeah, and he's associated with the Canelo camp,
and he's associated with the fact that he beat the other Brit. So it's like, can he be the guy that beat both Brit champions? Don't sell me that bullshit, JP. I got you, man. I got your number. No, sir, man. I think Andy fits the bill, but if not Andy, because maybe someone wants to debate Andy. Who else? I think you still could sell Violin, bro. You sold Violin the first time and he gave you blood for free. If he earns a shot with Dillian Whyte, it's totally a pay-per-view. Normally, statistically, the pay-per-view is Rematch. Luis Ortiz was free. Pay-per-view. The rematch, pay-per-view. It's normally that way. If they end up in the rematch, you're paying for it. B-Hop Roy for one, free. Second one, pay-per-view. So, yeah, I think if Violin beats White, they could roll the dice. Why can't they? They rolled the dice with Andy and Areola. Why can't the Lineal champ, the Ring Magazine champ, the WBC champ roll the dice with his mandatory? I know other people that do their mandatories on pay-per-view.
Well, we know Luis Ortiz isn't going to take the fight, so why not Andy Ruiz, right?
You don't think Luis will take the Tyson Fury fight?
Because
he got a history of turning down fights. But he also got a history of taking big fights. Or tough fights.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It'll be a good fight. It'll be a good fight. Fury Ortiz is a good fight. We talk about options. I love that fight. You know, but how can I count on him to take it?
I think Ortiz takes that fight, man. I think Joyce, listen, this is an easy option. If you're Luis Ortiz, you don't even got to be his manager. If you're Luis Ortiz and you go to Al and you're like, yo, so you saying this Joyce, they sent this offer? He's like, yeah, they sent this offer. And you like, so Andy's not available? Because let's be real, who's more popular? What's the fight that the fighter wants? Does Luis Ortiz want to fight Joe Joyce or does he want to fight Andy Ruiz?
Andy Ruiz, of course.
And if he had his option, if Al could get him any fight he wants, does he want to fight Joyce, Ruiz, or Tyson Fury?
Tyson Fury.
All right, so I don't know why you think he would turn it down. I don't think he'll turn it down. I think the Joyce fight is different because on my side of the street, I got an even bigger name. So I'm leveraging the Joyce option. Now they sent an offer. Now you see what I'm worth to them. I want the Andy fight, though. What up? What you got for me? Maybe I'm willing to take short on the Andy fight because he's a bigger name, so I could be bubbling again. I'm telling you, I don't know. That's how I think. I don't know. I like the Andy fight for anybody. He's marketable. He sells.
And he was there. He was there with the coat on out in Vegas.
And talking more, I think that's another good option, man. That's another pay-per-view right here in the States. If it's good enough for Wilder, why it ain't good enough for the man to beat Wilder? I say it again. Ortiz gets a shot at fucking Tyson Fury, and it's a common opponent. I'm going to beat the man. This bum Dawson had to do it twice. I'm going to show him how to do it right. Simple. Left hook, good night. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, we could put Tyson on pay-per-view. Let's stop lying. I'm sorry, my producer told me don't use the word lying. Let's stop being pessimistic. Let's start being optimistic.
Does Ortiz give Fury a problem? Southpaw, Cuban boxing, power, you know what I'm saying? I tune in for that.
Valeen gave him problems and he was a southpaw. Ortiz is a better boxer, allegedly. He got more amateur fights. You know what I'm saying? That's my next poll. I'm ending this one. Brandon, you lost. More people believe in 1 million or 500 or more than your hateful numbers, so I'm ending that one. And in the meantime, while I create my new poll, I'm going to go out to Shamo Callers.
I'm good. I beat Polly. I left with his belt and his girl.
This a Dolla beat.
Hey, Pops, brush my hair one time. And I know all y'all against me. All that soft talking. I know you can do it, man. You got the. Let's shut that soft ass shit up.
BoxingVoice.com.
Yo, can you hear me?
I mean,
can y'all hear me?
Not as good as we expected.
I got you. Yeah. You catch me going from one job to the other. But, hold on, let me fix that real quick. Is it a little bit better now?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, man, first off, I want to take that crow. I thought Deontay would get it done in round 5, especially after the 2 knockdowns in round 4. Unfortunately, I was DJing, so I couldn't listen to none of the audio. I was just watching, looking like a crazy man behind the DJ booth. But, nah, man, I got to take that crow. Fury knocked him out, stopped him, outboxed him, pressured him, put his body on him, did a mix of both things like I thought he would, and he did it really well, and he got up from adversity. Probably one of the best heavyweight fights I've seen in a long time. Now, I think I'm with you. I think you could do close to 500,000 buys on Ruiz, Wilder. I think Ruiz is pay-per-view for anybody at the top right now. I think that Tyson Fury should get that Ruiz fight just because if AJ can beat Usyk and he beats Ruiz, that's a good setup into that fight for Undisputed, if that happens. That's a lot of ifs and a lot of parts need to move right. But
I think Fury can still sell some pay-per-views in America. I mean, there's a few guys you're going to pay to watch. I think definitely Ruiz for anybody. The Mexican fan base comes out. It looks like Ruiz is in shape. Plus all the shadows over there in the Reynoso camp about PEDs and this and that. I think that just drums up more publicity for the fight. And, why does Andy look so good? Plus Andy looks beatable. If we keep it real, he's been dropped in a lot of his fights, and he gets back up and wins. So I think either way, it's a win-win if you fight Andy. And if you're another opponent, I'm not saying that there's not fear in losing to Andy, but, I mean, you can knock him down. So you got Wilder, who's a big puncher. You got Fury, who's stopped Wilder twice. So, I mean, I kind of agree. There's some money over here, and Andy Ruiz is kind of the key. Luis Ortiz, I mean, I'm a hardcore boxing fan, so yeah, I would pay to see Ortiz fight Fury. So yeah, that's my call. That's pretty much it. But yeah, definitely eating some crow for that night. But it was an exciting fight. Boxing won that night. And the undercard was good. I think with all these polls that you have out here, we need to not ignore the fact that the whole undercard was fire for Wilder Fury. I mean, they did it right. I mean, the whole undercard was good, in my opinion. I mean, I was entertained the whole time. I probably did the shittiest job as a DJ that night because I was just straight up watching the fight until it was over. But that's my call.
All right. Thank you for calling in, Adrian. I did a new poll. Tyson Fury versus Andy Ruiz Jr. on pay-per-view. 1 million buys, U.S. buys. 500,000 or more U.S. buys. 325,000 U.S. buys. Or 200,000 or less buys. And holy shit, a lot of people paying. They think it's gonna do 1 million. I mean, so far, obviously, the poll has just come out, but so far, 1 million is the highest. But let's get to James in Alabama or Huntsville, Alabama. What up? What up? What up?
Yo, what's up? What's up? Good afternoon, guys. How y'all doing today?
All good.
Hey, with Tyson Fury and Andy Ruiz, man, I believe that would probably do between 500 and 800,000 buys. I believe that Deontay Wilder was like the perfect nemesis or hero in some eyes or whatever, man, that Tyson Fury probably will never do any numbers like that with any other fighter. Do I think that he will do good numbers with a Usyk or Joshua in MSG? Yeah, I believe so. I believe that'll be the location for that fight. Also, I don't think Wilder even beats Ruiz, man. That's just my opinion. I believe he keeps on going to those measuring stick type tactics or whatever, man. Ruiz going to hit him with a 3 or 4 piece, man. And he'll get pieced up, man. And a lot of people's fallen king or whatever just fall even deeper into, I don't know, abyss or whatever you want, whatever term you want to use. I kind of believe Fury when he said, man, he'll be surprised if we see Wilder fights again. Because, man, Wilder seems such a prideful man. I don't think he wants any other fight but his get back with Fury, man, or else he won't accept anything else. And that's my call, man. I'm going to go.
Yeah, that's a good point, man. JB, shout out to JB, because honestly, man, James Benitez, you know what I'm saying? The way he took that knockout, man, that was I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't fight again. We talking about what fights we'd like to see him in. I don't even know if he want to fight.
No way. No way that man goes out on a loss. No way. No way.
Well, give him Trey Lippy Morrison then. Trey Morrison Lippy, that guy.
Nah, and I don't think he takes a tune-up. Listen, this is a man who told you don't throw in the towel, and they literally didn't throw in the towel when they could have thrown in the towel. Okay? No way he goes out on a loss. No way he goes out on a Trey Lippy. He's taking an Ortiz or Ruiz. He's taking a real fighter. He's taking a real fighter. He's going to take a Negron. He ain't going to take no motherfucking Trey Lippy, man. Y'all tripping out here. Y'all really out here done is over. Y'all
I'm
watched with
just
him.
saying.
Hands over. It's
I'm
done.
just saying.
I'm not done. It ain't
I'm
over.
saying.
I'm buying this
Listen, I'm
pay-per-view with
asking.
Ruiz. I'm buying this pay-per-view with Ruiz. Danny Ramirez says, no one weighs as much as the chin, skills, or height and reach of Fury. Wilder can beat the rest of the heavyweights not named Fury. Yeah, Brandon, the producer. This is why I tried to give you access to the polls, man. Listen, he hating on my poll, talking about, yo, you being too specific on your poll. Bruh, I'm being pay-per-view specific. That's how buys come in. When the last time you heard 750? I'm giving you what we hear. 1 million, 500 or more. 325 was the Wilder first fight. The Earl Mikey was around the 325, 345. Like, I'm giving you numbers you hear. 200,000. You know that's Crawford's favorite number to be under. That's Ward, he done under that. Fucking Gennady done under that. That's why I said 200 or less. You a hater,
175 gang. That's the 175 gang.
And that's why I put 200 or less. Like, my poll is right. But anyway, moving on. We got LV Slugger that says, what do you say? What did he say? He says, you trying to say Violin fought Fury better than Wilder when Wilder faced a totally different Fury than the one Violin did. Fury only went, bro, but that don't matter. Fury is Fury. Yo, this dude is tripping now. So what? We got heavyweight Fury and super heavyweight Fury. Bro, that's still Fury. You beat either one, you gonna be the champ. How about that? Yo, Fury was just strategic. Like, he just knew what he needed to do to absorb those punches, and that's why he put on the weight. Like, I'm sorry. We got Boston Jared that says Ruiz versus Wilder on Mexican Holiday is a big time fight with a lot at stake. Both fighters would have been bigger on Fox though. But you see Brandon? Hate, but the people want that fight. With no belts, they could go right into that fight in May and steal Canelo date. Canelo busy right now. He fighting in November. He don't got no true plan. There's nothing in the media that says we know what Canelo's doing if he beats Plant. Wilder Ruiz could steal that shit right now. Wilder could come out with another fucking hoodie video like, my people, I'm back. And I'm going to stay on the same track. Give me that Mexican, I'm going to put him on his back. Let's go, champ. You know what I'm saying? Nah, they don't see it, though. Brandon, you a hater, man. I'm buying that shit. Let's go. Who we got? LV Slugger says, Wilder versus AJ might still be bigger than Fury Usyk. Yo, let me tell you this. I'm going to go to this post because I did that too. I ain't going to call you a hater on that because I think that too. Look at what I put here. I put this on our Instagram, and if you ain't following me on Instagram, you whack. But I put, is this still the biggest fight in the heavyweight division? And look at what Antonio Tarver put. How the fuck can it be when they both lost? The best heavyweight fight in the division. Who paid you to say that shit? Damn, Tarver, you going hard. Let's see what the replies was. Champ, you spot on. How the fuck they gonna come up with these bullshit IG, blah, 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 blah. Sit your crying ass up. Who this one? Anything, what he got? The best doesn't mean lucrative. All right, so it wasn't that many. Look, at least USS said this should be both their next fight. Shout out to all these verified fighters on our Instagram, though. Our shit popping, though. Look, shout out to all these blue checks giving a response on the biggest fight in the heavyweight division. And really, before I go back to the call, and this is a manager right here. But going back to the regular the show, let me ask you on this. Like, what you think?
Niggas got bricks for cheapest.
See, I put that beat too. You need to go check us on Instagram. Shout out to my man Val in Houston. Yo. So what you think about this fight though? Is this like, did I word it wrong? Is it one of the biggest fights in the heavyweight division? Or is it still the biggest fight in the heavyweight division? Wilder, Anthony Joshua.
And I actually responded. And I asked Tarver. I don't even know if he responded to that. But for me, big is context. Like for me, it's always going to be a big fight because it's unfinished business. If you talk about that, the best fighting the best. Come on, man. These guys, get that out the way. Especially even if it ain't no belts on the table. Now, depending on how you look at it, that the only fight could be bigger than that is Fury and Ortiz. Right? I don't think Fury and Ruiz is bigger than Wilder and AJ. Not at all. So yeah, I do think it's the bigger fight with more of the backstory. Even if you try to put Dillian Whyte in there, nobody knows who on this side. You know what I mean? There's more of a recognition with saying AJ versus Wilder. You know what I mean? So I do think it is the bigger fight in that regard.
Damn, bro. That's my next poll if we got time. That really blew my mind. Fury versus Ruiz or AJ versus Wilder. What's the bigger fight? That's because you got the whole country of the United States, of the United Kingdom gonna ride for Fury. Then you got Ruiz cheating by being American and Mexican. So he can bring in two countries, man. That's a big, big fight. Where you got Wilder, AJ would be US versus UK only. So, yeah, that's my next poll if this poll goes by quick. If we get enough answers on this one right here, quick enough. But I got my Jimbe Boomerang. What up?
What up, what up? Yo, yesterday on the back call, I put in the chat that I wouldn't mind seeing Deontay with Huey Fury trying to,
Wow, y'all trying to throw this man. I mean, you know what? Like, what's more disrespectful, Huey Fury or Carlos Negron? Was I being could my shit be taken as disrespect? Like, I thought Negron, because again, I look at it from a market standpoint, like, black versus Puerto Rican. That shit sells, you know what I'm saying? Take him to the island. He fought in Puerto Rico before Wilder did. Take him back to Puerto Rico. Big events since the hurricanes and all that shit. No? I don't know.
So what I wanted is Jonathan Rice on the comeback, right? Just a nice tune-up. Then try to bait Fury into the fourth fight by knocking out his brother.
That Huey ain't even his brother. Ain't that his cousin?
Hey, listen, don't nobody care about details, bro. We're just trying to get him back.
Yo, they gonna get because Peter can't fight with Huey over here. That's why Huey never really had a US debut, I don't think. Peter is his son, or rather, Huey is Peter's son.
Yeah.
So he ain't fighting without daddy.
That's fine, bro. Make it happen. Let's talk to the Saudis.
Yo, get out of here. I'm out of here, man. I'm out of here, yo. Why they do this to fighters? Like, why is it a joke on Wilder Day now? Like, how he going? And I get it. Maybe he's not being funny. Maybe that's a real marketing plan. Like, go for the Fury name to get back in. I don't really think that he needs that, but I guess you could beat up on Peter. I mean, Huey.
Well, Huey. But look, maybe if
then
you're
going to be fighting Tommy next and shit. Come on, man.
Nah, he be fighting Shane. Him and Shane. And Bridgerweight. Him and Shane for a Bridgerweight
Shane
title.
was disrespectful, y'all. I don't care what none of y'all say. That shit's bullshit, man.
Look, that's what I'm saying, though, Ness. Like, suppose y'all think, well, not y'all, but I'm saying if people think it's ridiculous who we're mentioning, I'm mentioning Trey Lippy Morrison, whatever, right? You think that's ridiculous.
Yeah, you got us looking bad right now. You can't be saying Trey.
Nah. Listen to what I'm saying, though. Imagine how diplomatic you got to be in the first damn place. And that's my whole issue. Like, who do you go to him? Is he in the mood? Of course, maybe not today, maybe not. But when you talking, you say, yo, champ, you ready? Who you want to fight out there?
Bro, they know that shit. Listen, I bet you Scott know already. Based off the last fight, Wilder hired him like the night of, man. or the next morning.
But you
So
think they got it? Well, and I wonder who that is. I
so
wonder
he
who Scott
already
got
know.
in
He
mind.
already know what he want to do. All I'm saying is he already know what he want to do. Do he want to keep fighting or is he done? Like he already know if he went at Malik that quick before, and Malik said it in the interview, like there's still more work to be done. So even he is projecting more work being done. Even he is foreseeing more camps. But let me go out to a few super chats real quick. We stopped at Louisville Slugger, and we did Boston Jarrett. Went back to Louisville, and then we on RS1 that says, oh no, RNS1 says Ortiz turned down AJ twice for the biggest payday of his career. Ruiz took it instead. Hashtag pretender. Yeah, I know. We talked about it, and we said that he turned down that AJ fight to take the Wilder fight. And, maybe you didn't never been in the ring, you know what I mean? I feel like he took his shot at Wilder because of familiarity, right? Like, obviously, on the outside looking in, you're telling yourself, yo, you should have jumped on that fight and took $7 million with 5-6 weeks and a shot at 4 belts and then go back and fight Wilder in the rematch. But to him, he's looking at it, no, that's the unknown. I just fought 6, 7, 8, 9 rounds with this man. I feel I could beat this man. I'm going to take this rematch, win this belt, and that man's going to call me up and offer me more than 7 because now I got the belt. But again, everything needs to be explained to everybody, and I get it. But that could be a possibility for my haters out there. Understanding that could be a possibility. If you've already shared the ring with somebody, you're more prone to fight them again. You know them. Or you might not fight them again. You know what I'm saying? Because you know them. So, I don't know, man. I guess we see things differently. I don't see that as him avoiding AJ. I got Roland Curtis that says, does Wilder's next fight determine if it's over? Thinking emoji. I mean, I don't even know how to answer that because if he takes a tune-up, that doesn't mean that it's over. That means that he's going for it. If he takes a big fight like Andy, it doesn't mean that it's over. That means that he's on his Earl Spence shit. So you can look at it either way. I mean, I think that's the important part. Is he taking a fight? Is he taking a fight? That's the important part. Like that's what I want to know. And when?
Yeah, that's me
and
too.
when? And when? Like that got lost in the conversation. Like I wanted every caller to tell me how many months they think he take off. Only Brandon hit me with that. But yeah, how many months you think he takes off? Like when do you see him back?
And that's the thing. If he takes off a year, I don't see no coming back from a year. What's the point of taking off a year to come back?
And would he be legit 37 if he took a legit year from today? Would he be 37 tomorrow? I mean, next year?
I don't know, man, but it's what is he doing in that year? You know what I'm saying? Like just for argument's sake, the damage he took. Okay, he didn't want the towel thrown in. Well, he took a lot more fucking damage for having the towel thrown in. So now, suppose you want 3 to 4 months just sitting, not even doing no kind of exercise, just eating right and chilling with your family, hanging out, playing board games, right? You know, maybe 4, 5th, 6 month mark, you know what I'm saying? You start coming outside, whatever you're doing, warming up a little bit. Now, the man don't jog. It's within this however long you taking, are you going to finally start adding jogging to your regimen to extend that cardio so you can outlast your opponents and use that power a little bit better? Are you going to continue to work on them drills with Malik Scott in that period of time? So, I mean, in a year's time, that's, I'm not trying to rush the mental rest, but if he took, 4 months off of that and then he started another 6 months of training, that's as long as it is. That to say that's as long as it should take? Is that fair to me? I'm not at that level at all, but I think if he takes longer than a year, then that decreases, his chances coming back.
Yeah, I mean, just as a fan, I don't think I want to see him off another year. He was already out a year or more because of this situation with Fury. I think obviously because of age, it would probably be best suited to, you know,
But that's honestly, this is just all about temperament, man. Because if you took this as a lesson and you build on it, I think he has momentum. 2 knockdowns, you go into the body, using the
he's
jab.
35 right now. He's 35. Let me see if they don't. I don't see a date of birth. Do you know the actual date of birth? I think he just had a birthday, right? Wasn't people saying happy birthday? Or am I tripping?
Not end of September. Let's just say end of September-ish.
So he's 35 on BoxRec. Let me see if what wiki got.
But again, it depends on what he want to do. But he got to make that decision.
So he about to be 36. His birthday's on the 22nd. So then, a full year would make him 37. But still, that's not even old, man. B-Hop was out here doing his thing, and Wilder ain't take punishment besides these 2 fights, really. Ortiz wasn't killing him. Maybe 3 fights with the first Ortiz fight, maybe. So if you want to say he took punishment, like if you're an extremist hater of Wilder, then maybe you'll say Luis Ortiz won, and the 2 Fury fights. I don't know. I think that's not bad.
A year. Anything more than a year, and I
wouldn't want a year off.
Coming back.
I wouldn't want a year off. I already like the plan.
Like 9 months?
No, the plan's there. I like the plan. I already like the plan. I like the Mayo plan, man. I like the Mayo plan. We not in December. I like the Mayo plan.
How many months off did that put us? If they fight in May.
We in October, man. He got 6-7 months to get right. All the way right.
That's good to me.
You know what I'm saying?
That sounds good to me.
Take that date from motherfucking Canelo, who's undecided right now, and y'all go to Gusto. And what's Canelo going to do? If Ruiz really announced, Canelo going to support. They in the same camp. He going to be like, what? You got that, homie. You do your thing, man.
The one problem with that, I'm going to tell you something my brother told me. Sometimes he's a wise man. You know what he say? He said, man, you thinking like you, though, man. You know what I'm saying? We forget.
I hear you. I hear you. But what else is out there?
Nothing. But again, I think that's where that time span. That's why I say a year would be long. I'm perfectly good with 6-7 months. But what is Wilder thinking? I don't think he's thinking 6-7 months.
I'm just going based off his. I'm going based off his mentality, his personality thus far indicates that the probability is higher of him taking a tough fight versus a tune-up.
Well, I'm gonna go the opposite direction and say, I'm just being honest. The guy that doesn't shake hands, that walks out the ring, that doesn't do the press conference, he's probably gonna take longer than 6 to 7 months off.
That could be frustration from a competitive standpoint, so he's ready to get back in to dust that shit off.
I would hope so. I would hope so. I would certainly hope so, because that it's certainly options out there, and it's time. Who am I to rush?
Yeah, we got Mad Bent 100. Oh, he says Wilder versus Ruiz, big fight. Caller nuts. Ruiz don't possess the attributes of Tyson. All right, so I guess you think he ain't beaten because he ain't as fast as Mike? I don't know. Counterpunching is his thing, man. If he could stay on the inside of that reach, we'll be seeing what really Wilder can do. Jaguar Parr says, after that type of beating, Wilder is tenderized. He loses his next fight in under 4 rounds and retires after. Well, consistency with this one. Do you believe something like that? You think that the fight was too much and he's damaged goods?
Yeah, again, I just think that he's going to take a little bit more time off than anybody thinks. I don't. His actions, some of the things he did, doesn't make me believe that he's coming back anytime soon, and it doesn't necessarily make me believe that the opponents that he's coming back against are going to be the guys that we're thinking of. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. We got James Counterpunch.
Yo, man, I don't even know why they talking about trying to get him back in the ring, man. I really feel like Brilliant's probably one of the last people in this camp that really cared about him, man. Like, yo, like, think about it, man. He's bleeding from the same damn ear again, man. Like, he could probably have some long-term hearing damage and everything. People should just be like, hey, he's going to take his time, get healthy. We're going to worry about the medicals. We're not even thinking about fighting right now. That's what should be coming out of people's mouths in this camp. But it seemed like they just some damn, what's the word I want to use? But they just want to just make money off of him or get money off of him or whatever, man. Because that's some bullshit right there. They don't care about the health of this fighter. Wild's career is going to be even shortened if he rushes back in the ring. And especially if you put him back in on Cinco de Mayo, shit, man, we might see him down his shield. So, man, that's my counter, man.
James Benitez.
Yo, JB out here going hard.
He consistent as hell.
But let me tell you who's going harder. 7 minutes ago, Eddie Hearn and Andre Ward. Small back and forth, nothing aggressive. Eddie obviously said what I said earlier about, and I quote, as fans, we should be calling for Tyson Fury versus Dillian Whyte. Imagine the build-up, imagine the fight. It does well over 1 million pay-per-view buys, sells out a stadium. That is the fight. The winner fights the winner of Usyk versus AJ. And Andre SOG Ward Verified Twitter came out and said, Eddie, stop it. And Eddie came back and said, with AJ confirmed rematching Usyk, name a better, bigger fight. And I say, Eddie, Andy is better than Dillian in the U.S. In the U.S., oh yes, Andy. Let me go out to JT, New Orleans. Are you available?
So interesting that you come across like a nice guy, but you're really a piece of shit. Hey, with that comment. Come on. That was a piece of fuck you. That was a piece of shit. We're doing live TV. Man, I don't care. What you gonna do about it?
I'll kill this mother. Why do you have to talk like that? Well, I'm talking to you the way I want to talk to you. You have a problem? Turn off your station. I'm the best ever.
What's up? I'm sorry, Ness. I was doing something on the phone while you was talking. The show, are we still talking about Wilder coming back?
No, sir. But yes, that is part of the show, the comeback, how long you expect him to be out. There's been a few different discussions, but the main topic is, Fury. And let me get you the title here. It's Tyson Fury versus Dillian Whyte, which is something that literally Eddie is pushing right now.
I think that's a good fight. Dillian Whyte might have a better chance on beating Fury, because Dillian Whyte fight a little more reckless than Wilder and stuff like that. And I think if he come at with Fury, he'll make it a good fight. The Fury that fought Wilder, it'd be a tough fight for Fury. But I don't know what type of shape he'll be in against a Dillian Whyte. But me personally with Wilder, from what I've seen, I don't know. Me personally, Ness, I don't be honest. I don't think Wilder come back and fight at that level no more. I mean, I think that was the highest level. He did say in this press conference he don't have to fight no more and stuff like that. So maybe that probably was his last hard fight, tough fight. Who do he come back and fight from here?
What you mean?
So, I mean,
he could obviously fight Ruiz. We've been just showing you that.
Fight. I don't know. I think Fury been in Wilder head since the first fight, and I seen it was proven to me the third fight. I was kind of still on the fence the second fight due to the cheating stimulations and stuff like that. But after that first round, man, Deontay Wilder looked like he been fighting that whole night, and I ain't seen. I was shocked. I started seeing the same thing from the second fight. So maybe
but that's still That's still versus Tyson. That ain't got nothing to do with Ruiz. Like, we got to see, did he lose his killer instinct, man? Look, everybody takes losses, man. Pacquiao was flattened. People probably was telling Pacquiao to retire after Marquez, and look at what he done did. He done came back and beat Keith. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, man, he in the heavyweight division, he got that equalizer. If I was him, I ain't giving up. Now, obviously, I'm not him. I don't see that bank account. I don't know none of the greatness or none of the pain of training for a heavyweight fight. But I know that he got that puncher. He got that one punch quitter right there. And that's all you really need, especially versus Ruiz. He took them shots from AJ. Can he take Wilder shots? I don't know, man. I don't know. I like that fight, man. But we got Potato Chip. Wilder was bleeding in the ear again. Should that be some concern with his health? Nah, man. Is that you guys are looking at it like blood. He got gauges. So that skin is tender, man. It's probably, when he take those gauges out, is that the proper name for them earrings he be wearing? Or they go inside the skin? Shit crazy.
Yeah, the little circle stretch out joints.
Yeah, man,
those are gauges.
that shit probably, I don't know. I could be wrong. I don't got that shit, so I don't know. I'm over here making excuses. Call me Team Wilder making excuses for him. I got Supermax says if he wants to come back, it should be sooner rather than later, but factor in how long he's suspended by the commission after the KO. Yeah, I mean, that is true. What's that, 90 days? Damn. Nah, but you could be suspended for 90, puts you in the clear sometime in what? January? End of January? Announce your fight Cinco de Mayo, dog. Like, you got plenty of time to announce. You can announce your fight end of January as soon as you done with your 90-day suspension. So you goody, Sam Goody. Listen, they could do a lot of things, bro. Look, like I said, go back to Puerto Rico. Do Carlos Negron. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't understand why we saying we can't rebuild. Shit, I was giving Joshua Dave Allen twice off both losses. I'm like, yo, let him fight Dave Allen. Like, y'all talking about retire. Dude's making $30 million a pop. Y'all saying, they should retire. Man, get the fuck out of here, bro. These dudes are money-making machines. They got to say they want to retire before you can say that.
I got to cut out quick,
for
man,
sure,
and jump into the mix.
You already
Listen,
know.
man.
Baby.
King Amin Invest 1, Instagram. King Amin Invest 1 on YouTube. Don't forget to check me out here. I'll be back for Untitled, y'all. I'm out. Peace.
All righty then, Majid, what up?
Yo, everybody need to like the video, subscribe to the channel, join YouTube members and Patreon for something. I was right about all my picks for everybody, of course, except Wilder. But hey man, I don't know about y'all opinion, but even though he was successful in round one, I ain't like his reaction, the way he was blinking his eyes. He almost looked scared in there, you know what I'm saying? And I feel like the only thing that got him out of there, got him through the rounds that he did get through, was one, them not throwing the towel in, because I felt like every damn round they should have threw the towel in. And yeah, like he looked punch drunk to me. He don't look like he gonna be the same. He about to start looking like Roy Jones out there. You know, the way he hold that chin in the air and those arms out and shit, look like he's stunned just trying to move out the way. So I ain't, man, I'm a fan, but I feel like he need to call it quits, because that brain, his motor skills, all that stuttering he doing shit, that nigga, I don't know, man. But
we talking about Wilder?
Yeah, he ain't look right from round one, even though he was landing all those good shots and everything. When Tyson Fury like even fucking feint at him, the way that he fucking closed his eyes and fucking hold those arms out, he was an overhand or a hook waiting to happen. And I personally, I've been vouching for him talking the most shit, but people got to get over it. He lost, and they got to look.
Cut it. JT counter.
Yeah, hello. I
Yes,
couldn't
sir.
count them fast enough, but Majid took the words for me. Ness, you said we kind of like tripping on it, but what I saw after the first round, look, bro, I saw everything Majid just said. I don't think Wilder recover from that. You know, like I'm a still fan of him, much respect for him, but at the end of the day, like he said in his press conference, he don't have to fight no more. He's straight. So maybe he's getting to that point. And after this beating, he just took again, man, because they could have been stopped the fight. His chin was all in there. Bro, he couldn't even. He looked at all balanced himself in there without even Tyson Fury hitting him first. So that's what I'm saying. Like, man, do Wilder still have that attitude, that grit? He sold the fight and stuff like that. But after that first round, bro, everything just went out the window. So that's what I'm saying. Do we see Wilder at the top level, or do Wilder even want to continue fighting again? Yes, as fans, we want to see him fight and knock somebody out. But guess what? The blueprint came out on Wilder. Just back him up.
Cut it, cut it. Just back him up. Yeah. You think everybody gonna be able to do what Fury did? You think everybody's 6'9" and can punch down on a 6'7" dude? And you think everybody is gonna be fearless to see can they take his right hand? Because Fury keep going down. That's the last I checked. That power is still there. I don't know, man. But I hear y'all. Y'all count them, man. Y'all counting them out. I see. Okay. Listen, with a dude with that much power, I cannot count you out. I cannot count you out. Not like completely. Like, why? But we got JT is back.
Yes, nobody's counting Wilder out, but if we look at the last two fights and stuff like that, we don't know what Wilder has left in those fights. And what I'm saying, like a lot of fighters never went forward towards him as Fury did. So I'm just saying, if you look at the print, yes, you get a few fighters just as tall as Fury, but they got a lot of short. Andy Ruiz is not no walk in the park for Wilder neither, because I think what Andy Ruiz do, he comes forward. And Wilder goes with his chin in the air. He did it against Ortiz and stuff like that. And on Andy Ruiz, I think it'd be a 50-50 fight with them two, to be honest with you. Even though Wilder the taller man. But like I said, Wilder just been in two hell of a fights, and we don't know if he really there mentally to fight at that level again. Just being honest. So he might be retiring, man. Don't be surprised.
You tripping, bro. First of all, you really tripping. Extra tripping. He could pull back with Andy. Andy ain't as tall, man. Andy's 6'1". Andy don't got the reach of fucking of Tyson Fury. And you keep saying, oh, look at his last two fights. Bruh, it's versus the same person. So it's not like we looking at two different fights. That's what I'm saying. Let's make that call, that judgment call, that life career decision changing call that y'all making. Let's do that when we see him look bad versus another person. Fury is a special heavyweight, man. He's a special heavyweight. He's going to prove that in the Usyk fight. We got King the Dream, Florida. What up?
Wait a minute. You say you know boxing? Yeah.
What is it?
Maybe I don't know. Tell me what a full counter is.
Full counter? I've never heard that term before. That must be your term. You must have been.
No, Shake, HBO need to fire you. You don't know shit about boxing. You ain't shit.
Yo, what up, Ness?
All
Morning,
right.
man.
What up?
Well, good afternoon for us, man. You be on here working, huh?
Let's go.
That's what's up. But so what's the main topic? I've been jumping in and out, man. I've been hearing different topics.
Topic is Tyson Fury, Dillian Whyte, 28 days. Plus Eddie's pushing it right now. Andre Ward is like, nah, that ain't no fight. Stop it, Eddie.
Yeah.
Eddie's like, nah, that's the biggest fight to make since Usyk is busy. So we talking about that. We talking about Joshua activating his rematch clause with Usyk, and we talking Wilder's comeback.
But White got to fight Wallin, don't he?
White got to fight Wallin on the 30th, yes, sir.
Right. So I'm saying, so what are you trying to make a White versus Fury fight? What if you go out there and get sparked by Wallin? Then what? Then it's Wallin versus Fury too?
What if? But he's a promoter. He's setting up the next fight. He's doing what he got to do, setting up the WBC title shot, Ring Magazine lineal shot for his fighter. He working.
Eddie know that shit don't be working out like that, man.
Hey,
he gotta stop it.
listen. White got to worry about the gym and the fight, and Eddie got to worry about getting the next fight.
Yeah, I feel you, but that shit ain't gonna work out like that, man. You gotta chill out, man. But I don't want to see. I want to see Fury fight Usyk. I think he already beat Wallin. Knows a good fight, and I think he'll beat White. And Wilder shouldn't fight all next year, man. We see him back 2023. But I appreciate it, champ.
Man, get out of here. All next year. Cinco de Mayo, Andy Ruiz, man. Al, make it happen, man. Al, make it happen. Let's go! Listen. If Dillian Whyte and Eddie Hearn could send $5 million offer to Andy off a loss to AJ, Andy worth it for Wilder. And if Dillian Whyte and Eddie Hearn could send more than the 5, what they send them 6 the second time? Come on, man. Make that offer. Let's go. Cinco de Mayo, still the date from Canelo. Show the world. Belt, no belt, you are the heavyweight resurgence. Without you, there's no heartbeat in the heavyweight division. You know what I'm saying? Talking like you walking, man. We going to
get your ass in the ring and swing, man.
BoxingWords.com. Hey, Daddy. Boxing thinking man's game. This is Dolla beat.
Up here. You gotta get out and think of motherfucker. That's what
BoxingWords.com.
TBV, what's happening, man?
What up?
Everything, coach, man. I've been listening the past couple of days. I ain't calling in, but I've been listening, man. It's trippy, man. First, I want to say shout out to Fury and Wilder, man. Boy gave a great ass fight. You know what I'm saying? But Wilder hung in there as much as he could, and to be him making it to the 11 years, you know what I'm saying? Kind of, you know, it's a surprise, and it was good, man, because he should have got up out of there. Which want me to say that Fury might not have been on his 100% game. I don't think he was. I think he was off a little bit, but he still did what he had to do. Just shout out to the fighter, man, who I think if Wilder should come back, he should come back when he wants to, bro. I mean, I think a year will be too long, be honest, but I think he should come back, and I think he should come back to a Pulev. I think even an Andy Ruiz is a little bit too risky because he can't let his hands fly, but see, give him a Pulev, you know what I'm saying? See me shake with that. But that's my call. I'm out. Shout out to Baldy. Shout out to Jago. Everybody stay up, man. Remember, respect all fighters, man.
All right. We got Hawk, Maryland. My bad, champ. What the hell? Oh, shit. All right. I got Mr. PBC. What it do?
Mr. PBC, baby.
BoxingWords.com.
I'm the finest. Canelo talking about he believe he can win. Go to my kitchen. Get the sharpest knife and cut the bullshit up. I don't care what you do good. I do every fucking thing great.
Mr. PBC, baby.
Yo, what it do? TBV.
Where you been at, man? They out here going at the champ, man.
You know, they can do that because, you know, they ain't a champ. I think it takes a champ to go at a champ. And definitely we seen that on Fight Night. When it comes to Wilder and Dillian Whyte or Dillian Whyte and Tyson Fury, I've been said it on the back call with them knuckleheads. You know, I think Dillian Whyte's dog style, because the dog style is what gets Tyson Fury these wins. Let's keep it real. I mean, if no one's gonna stop you, what's gonna stop you? I think the dog style, because I was thinking about it today. Like, okay, yeah, you get a point, but if you knock him out, what's the point of getting in trouble? And that's why I see about this fight. If Dillian Whyte fights, the dog style is definitely going to play into a factor. But then what plays into a factor is what's the count? Do we need a count anymore? Because that's why I'm starting to think, like, if we don't need a count, then let's just go until motherfuckers can stay all the way down. Well, I feel like with Tyson Fury, I mean, what's the count? What's the point of a count no more?
Well, what you
If he
mean?
could get,
Why even bringing up count? I'm lost. What you talking about?
I mean, that count was kind of long. Come on, you got to keep it real.
So you talking about the first fight still?
The third, I'm talking about the third and the first.
Oh wow, you got a long count for the third fight too.
Yes, indeed, baby. What's the point of having a count then? We should just go into these fights. It's like,
Damn, I didn't know there was I didn't know people were saying that the count was long. Wow. We got Supermax that says if he wants to come back, it should be. We said that, Max. Next one is from Young Prophet, and he says Wilder back in the summer of next year, and fight would be good. Malik not looking for a tune-up according to interviews I've seen. Good. That's what I'm saying, man. Summer next year is May. Cinco de Mayo. Let's get it popping. He come right back with another one. He said, they said he was damaged goods last fight. Wilder retirement talk is crazy. I'm sure he coming back when he's ready. Yeah, man, I think so too. We got sarcasm. Why they counting the man out, bruh? Why they counting the man out? That's all I want to know. But we got sarcasm that says, has Mr. PBC called in or is he hiding? Well, you just seen him, so you know he ain't hiding. Or rather, you just heard him. And Hawk, we lost you, man. I do apologize. He sent the cash out. He's like, yo, you forgot me. I had went to him, but then we went to our guests. And, you know, that's not how it was meant to be. And I did do your boomerang, right, my Jimbe? I got JP on the other side of town. Next GTO, Instagram and Twitter. Catch us on the next one. Listen, subscribe to the YouTube channel. We're going live today at 7 p.m. on Untitled. It'll be on YouTube members only. On Untitled, YouTube members only, where we talk about everything, you know. Last week it got crazy. Shan was on, Enrique was on, myself, Doomy. So catch us tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern time for YouTube members live. And yeah, man, don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel, hit that thumbs up. All that great stuff helps. We got Philly Irish sliding in, says, great fight. That caller needs to stop with the excuses. Better man won. There you go. Next GTO, arrivederci.